Leche. 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 Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What's up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, June 16th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Big Friday card. We're going to start out with the 3 CFL games. I got, I gotta watch my language for the first 8 minutes. I got hurt badly by the Rouge in CFL. For those of you who don't know, there's 1 point awarded when the ball is downed in the opponent's end zone or it's kicked through the end zone, but not through the uprights. It's a ridiculous thing. But it cost me my team total under with the Stampeders at 25.5. It went up to 26.5 right before game time, and I came so close to doubling up on it, double downing on it. I came so close, man. I was thinking of, what Jose did with the total in that Red Sox Rockies game, 9.5, 10.5, and it moved to 26.5. And I was like, all right, let's just, and of course it ends at 26. I've lost 2 team totals by a point. Extremely frustrating. But you know what takes me away from the frustration? We did have a winning day in MLB, not quite as winning as young Jose Bouquet's day was, but we were winning. Al Cervic in the chat. Wow, I got to get this. Don't worry, Jose. I'm just right, very close to here. I was gonna, my man. I was showing this off yesterday. My man Al Cervic sent me this here. What a guy! Hey, look at that. Low Shack in the bag from my guy Al Cervic. Nice to see you, Al. That puts a smile on my face, Al. Seeing you makes me forget the anger I had, the seething anger that I had from the Rouge. Goddamn Rouge! What the hell is a Rouge? All right. But we cashed the under. We lost with Red Blacks plus 6.5. Frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Goddamn Rouge. Fuck's goddamn Rouge. But we went 4-3 in MLB. It's back-to-back days where I dig myself this enormous hole, sweating buckets. I got to climb out of it. We did it yesterday with 4 straight winners, but open the day 0-3. It's just awful. I mean, why do I have to dig myself a huge hole and climb out of it with straight winners at the end of the night? Whatever. But we did go up 1.25 units in MLB. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. Justin McElvey in the house. Stacks play today. Corey Seager over 1.5 bases at plus 108. Copy and paste this. Copy and paste this spot. Corey Seager, the Texas Rangers. I've made a bet last night, expecting to give it out on radio this morning, and the market went heavy against us. So that was fine, Didn't give it out, had a different bet. A bet that didn't all fully correlate, but I felt like it correlated enough. And then I saw a spot where all the money was on one side and there was a reverse line movement. And I was like, oh, I got to hammer this. So I did. And the market's gone up against that as well. So I'm frustrated. I can't find the Rangers game. I know it's somewhere there. I just have too many pages of notes, Justin. I'll put it up there. There is our guy, Viper MB. Boston, first 5 -0.5. We'll have the very hot Jose. And I mean, picks-wise, you guys know that. Not those milky tits. No, we're gonna no. What's the word? What can I call them other than hot? I'll have to figure something out. Troy Torrance has got a meeting from 10:30 to 11:31. Stop by and drop the database play of the day. Look at that. Cubs first half money line, full game money line. The database play of the day. This is new. and very exciting from our Troy Torrance. It is the Cubbies, and it pops off. This is our first game in the afternoon. It's an interesting one. Cole Irvin versus Kyle Hendricks. Troy Torrance has spoken. Says home teams that close between -120 and -110. Market moves towards them. Sharps on the home team, 12-3 straight up. Well, let's get this right here. Fly White Mike in the house. Nasty Nate ready to get to work. Gerald Jones says, happy Father's Day weekend. Low bag pub and best bet Angels KC over 9.5. Well, that is the game that I've moved quite heavily on. One thing you'll notice in that game, and this is, so much fun, but the full game has been going up. The first 5 has been going down. Very, very interesting spot that I've bet heavily on. And I'm not on that spot, but I'm not fading it on the full game. Joey Marinaccio, Jay Stone, TJ says the gift cashes again. A's +1.5. I was the only one who didn't cash with the A's. That was another. I could have had a huge day yesterday, but I was the only one. My first 3 loses. Jose's first 5 pushes. His first 5 plus a half cashes. And of course, TJ's gift cashes. TJ says, sorry about keeping you off wash yesterday. I don't think that was you fully at all. I had stopped. My belief in Mackenzie Gore had gone away. That was me. So don't worry about that. There's our guy, Von Polo. Says, I feel better, man. Good money last night. I love it, Von Polo. Billy Friedrich says, White Sox pen blows another win. Wasn't Cease awesome? God, Cease was good, man. I cashed the first 5 under with Jose, and I cashed the White Sox first 5 plus 120. God, they were good. Spreadsheet play of the day is in, and it's heating up as well. Arizona -1, a -102. The Diamondbacks and the Zach Gallen at home situation here. Looking forward to talk about that game. Let me get this up here. It's going to be a real fun one. I found the market now has started to, show it, show out. Like we're starting to see where, and there's spots that I want to bet, but I thought that I would wait to talk to you guys about it. But I do have quite a bit. I have 5 bets, but I think that my next round of bets will be better. And that's what's been happening. And this happened last year. The bets that I made with you guys on the show hit at a much higher ROI than the ones that I made pre-game. BJ, best bet is in Chicago Cubs money line. Cubbies money line is top set in the house. Al Cervic, my man. Great to see you, dude. BJ says, I'm working. Be listening in the comments. Good luck, everybody. So best bet for BJ, Chicago Cubs money line. So we have a few. Well, we have Troy Torrance with the database play today. We have now BJ with his MLB best bet on these Chicago Cubs. Very fishy opening line. But, I guess the Orioles are a really good ball club. There is our guy, Parlay Angel, says, what up in Boston with fears of a rainout? Is my Fenway Park experience in jeopardy? Well, we have 2 spots that are considered in jeopardy, and that's not one of them. So I wouldn't have any concern here. At this point, it's 18% precipitation. So there's no concern. The games that are in jeopardy are Miami, Washington, and St. Louis, New York Mets are the games in jeopardy. So I think you're going to be good to go, man. I think you're going to be good to go. There is a Static X Tract says, what time are the weigh-ins? I let somebody in the chat can let our guy know what time the weigh-ins are here today. Razor Sharp picks in the house, ready to get to work. Real Deal Prime, Gerald Jones, Leroy Flood, Dan Kelly, Top Set, Joey Harb. Yeah, it's been poor weather here. Dan, it sucks. We need some glory here, badly. A Rem Most ready to go. Parlay Angel said, Casio Otani to record the win in my sorry ass book, not paying me, calling it a loss. Jesus, yeah, get all over that. LJ from H-Town, Arizona full game money line, Gallon at home. Gallon's numbers at home are ludicrous. I can understand why you are all moving on it. I have not moved on it. There was some concerns. I had some concerns, and we'll be able to talk them all out. But spreadsheet play today is on it. So I can understand why you guys are all on it. I get it. We'll talk about it. Spending penny bombs in the house. There's Saturated, Rocco, Rogers, the Nuke Worker, Creekman, A's, White Sox, and Nats for Creekman today. I like that the call on the A's. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's copy and paste our guy Creekman's action. Get this up, Creekman. You are in business here. Wine time, Browns, Hughes, Billy Freeze, the cash first 5 White Sox, but needed the full game for a plus day. I didn't move on the full game, thank God. Spenny said, shit day yesterday. Chappie let me down, but I have to go back to him again. Chapman hitting .438 versus Perez. That was part of the reason with why I ended up moving on the first 5 under on that game, which has gone heavily against me. So much so that I was staring at buying out of it. But Chappie hits him so hard, Spenny, and Chappie's just not playing well. And that made me think that that Martin Perez might be better against Chappie today. I'm going to copy and paste your comment there above that game, though. I wish I didn't make that bet. I didn't give it out on the radio show. Still, those bets that I make the night before on Friday. So I make them Thursday night. I give them on the radio show. I'm 12-7 in those spots, but I did not give out that first 500 4.5. All right, let's get to work. Series business. Don Play, Boogie Main, Rick J, Jay Peasy says Danny Jansen returns with a bang. Yeah, he did. He did. Another great night for DC Capper, Wash, Redskin, and Nasty Nate says rain out here around 7. So expecting rain out there around 7. You know what? We'll hammer it when we get to that game. Danny Lopez, I was thinking of your action there. The U.S. and Canada parlay that you gave out was a no sweat, too easy. Canada wins 2-0 over Panama. America wins 3-0 over Mexico. Is perfectly done. Browns Hughes is on the Cubs for 2 units. Wine time is on the Cubs. There's Paco Healy ready to get to work. OG Lowbagger right there. And by the way, Spenny also looking at Merrifield. Let's get all this up here so we can discuss it. So a lot of action on the Chicago Cubs. A lot of action on the Chicago Cubs. Okay, we have Daby Cab joining us here today for MLB. Of course, Jose, who is on a heater. That's what I should say. Yes, that's a better way of doing it. On a heater is going to jump in. Play of the day. He's going to jump in with the Red Sox. And you can, of course, see all of Jose's action on Say Hey Plays of the Day. And I believe Friday is a CMAC. Connor Mack will be joining him today, I believe. Let's get to work. Thank you guys for joining us. Browns Hughes says weather indicating under at Wrigley, but market disagreeing. We're going to break down all of that. Andrew G says Ottawa getting 0 points to start, and then the Rouge right there. The game was over. What a bonehead coach. Yeah, I mean, thank God they got Arbuckle out of there. But they still had a lot of chances to cash. It was there was an 84-yard fumble return, for the Stamps. And, had there not been an 84-yard fumble return, I mean, but that, that's part of a football, But, of course, then the team total cashes, the, Red Blacks cover, all that happens. But I feel my record is not where I want it to be. Let's get into CFL right now. And okay, Jose, I got you, man. Let's get into CFL. Look, 6-8 record is not very good. I mean, I've lost 2 team totals by a half point. I didn't want to be involved in that Roughriders Elks game, but that happens when you cap with people. You get interested or excited about a spot that you weren't necessarily on. But this should be shoulds, whatever. Who cares about shoulds? But I feel like I'm seeing things clearly, and I will get to the winning side of things very, very soon. 1-2 yesterday. It upset me very much. Let's go. And Wine Time Sports here, though, very quickly, and I don't want to miss this because this is one of those things that you need to spot here. It says, guys, I don't ever bet more than 0.25 units in WNBA, but today I have a 2-unit play on the over 163 at the LA Sparks game. Big system indicator on it, and this line is more than 5 points off from our Wine Time Sports. We are not doing a full analysis of WNBA action today, but I will mention that at the end of the show for people looking at WNBA. Thank you for sharing that with us. Wine Time, my guy. All right, let's get to work. We're going to go through this quickly. It won't be very long. I know everybody wants to talk baseball, and we will be hammering this MLB card. But let's get into CFL. We have a game each night: Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Tonight we have the favorites to win the Grey Cup, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who opened up with a very convincing victory over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They're up 32-4 before they left their foot off the gas, and Tiger Cats scored. But it was important for the Tiger Cats offense, and we'll get into that later. Against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now, Mosaic Stadium is a very difficult place for opponents. It's the heart of the CFL, this Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan. And it'll be jammed. It'll be ham-boned. It'll be packed, sold out, 71 Fahrenheit, sunny, 7 miles per hour. It's beautiful weather here. And let's pull up the line history here for this spot. I've made 3 bets on the Sunday game, and I'm interested in these, but I just wanted to talk it out, say everything out loud, and go over the market moves, because the only book hanging a 47.5 at a pick'em in the entire market, everywhere else is 47 or 46.5. The only one hanging a 47.5 is Pinnacle. That has stopped me from betting the under here. Also, all these books move this total from 47 to 46.5 like in the last couple hours. Pinnacle did the opposite. They moved it from 47 to 47.5 at 8:30. So, Bet365 is at 46.5. So why is, and I'm interested in the under, so why is Pinnacle giving you the best line? That's always been a red flag. If Pinnacle is giving you the best line on a bet, you probably shouldn't bet it. From a point spread side of things, this opened up at 5. It's now at 6.5, right across the board. But again, the Pinnacle has the 6.5 heavily juiced to the Bombers. So we had a 1.5 move towards the Bombers, and I get it. Bombers coming off a 42-31 win over Hamilton in the home opener. They jumped out to a 34 lead. Riders opened their season with a 17-13 win at Edmonton. The Riders have this front four that's very tough, and the crowd's going to be going bananas. You have to think it's going to be more difficult for Caleros, but the issue is the secondary is a problem with the Riders, and the Elks are just unable to take advantage of it, or the secondary is better than what everybody thought in the offseason with the player moves that went down. This 4, though, Pete Robertson, Anthony Lanier, Micah Johnson, start that front 4, and they're just monsters. So they made it so difficult for Taylor Cornelius. Here for the Bombers, they have all-star tackles, so they can neutralize a lot of that. Stanley Bryant, Jamarcus Hardrick, and then you have Patrick Neufeld, and you have the best offensive line in the league, and it's been the best offensive line now for a little while. Stimmy OG's on the Roughriders. I would not move on it yet, Stimmy. Real Deal primes to Saskatchewan on a short week. He's got Winnipeg. The fact that Pinnacle has this so juiced to the Bombers means 7s are coming. And if 7s are coming, at what point would I be interested in a team total under for the favorite? Now, I know it blew up in my face yesterday, but it was me not being patient. I thought there was going to be buyback on the Red Blacks, and there wasn't. But if I had waited, I would have got 26.5. I would have catched the team total under. So Zach Caleros looked incredible in week 1. And the Bombers offense feels very good about themselves. And now they have to go in the toughest place to play. Last year, it bothered Caleros not at all. But last year, the Roughriders completely fell apart. And this year, they have a little bit of hope. Now, their win total for the season for the Roughriders was 7.5, and it was juiced to the under. So it's not thought of as a good football team. Now, also, Trevor Harris didn't practice on Wednesday because of a hip injury. We all think he's going to play, but he is listed as questionable. You also have receiver Darrell Walker and linebacker Derek Moncrief both ruled out. That hurts. And then you have defensive back Nick Marshall listed as doubtful. So maybe maybe I should just stop here at this point. The Blue Bombers are going to be without offensive lineman Tui Eli. It doesn't hurt them that much. Defensive lineman Cam Lawson. Jackson Jeffcoat is phenomenal, and he's listed as doubtful. So that could hurt them. But at this point, with Pinnacle leading the way towards the Bombers and the over, I don't really see a spot for me to fit in. I know how hard it is to play at Mosaic, and I kind of want to attack a team that is feeling so good about themselves, but it just doesn't feel right to me. Joe Yurkovich says, are there key numbers in the CFL? The Rouge really messes with key numbers, Joe. I mean, it's just like NFL, really, but the Rouge will mess with those. But it's the same kind of numbers in the NFL. 3 and 7 and are the big ones, just like that. Watch Redskins said bought a half point, took the Bombers -6, not overthinking it. You might have absolutely nailed the spot here. I've got nothing at this point. But if this total climbs, I will have interest in the under. And I will have interest in the first half under if I go that route. But even so, I don't know why I would necessarily like the first half under over the full game under, just because if the Bombers are in control and we all saw them let their foot up off the gas in week 1, their coaching staff's going to be all over them to do it here in week 2. So Creekman says $500 free bet. Who you on? $500 free bet here. With Harris's hip injury, I think that I would take the Bombers. But I guess I would go $500 free bet. I guess I take the Bombers and I take the 6.5. And maybe that's just what I should do here. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw, but I obviously need more time with this game. Creekman, I was thinking under heavily. I was all over. I was going to, move on the under, but I'm not going to move on any bet where Pinnacle's offering me the best line on it. It's just something that Pete taught me a few years ago, and then I've been following it, and it's legit. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the second game on the card, Saturday, June 17th, tomorrow. Edmonton Elks at BC Lions, BC Place in Vancouver, BC. There's a couple things here that are crucial to me. And one is, this is a very different offense than last year. Rourke being gone in Jacksonville. I know Vernon Adams Jr. looked good against Calgary. Baby now, after being in the league for years, he's going to, and having these dynamic wide receivers, he's going to change what I've seen from him and what we've all seen from him, the whole league seen from him. Anybody who wanted Vernon Adams Jr. could have got him for a cup of coffee last year for nothing. So now he's got these dynamic wide receivers. We know he's extremely mobile and he's smart. He doesn't air the ball out in bad situations, and he's got an arm on him. He can throw it a long way. The Lions, to start the year last year, destroyed the Elks at home. And the ownership group in BC and Vancouver have done a great job building excitement around this team, and this is going to be, packed for the home opener. This opened up at 6.5 at most books. It's now at 7. Opened up at 6.5 at a pick'em. It's now at 7, and it's heavily juiced to the Lions, and that juice will continue. For me, I don't think that this is nearly the offense that teams, that people remember, and I do want to move on the under in this one. We have some books moving this. This opened up at 45.5, and Pinnacle moved it to 46 at 8:14 a.m. It's not moved, and that was 2 days ago. It's not moved for 48 hours now. It's not moved for 48 hours, and so I think we can take advantage of what people think the Lions are still, and they're not a team that's going to be putting up 40 and 50 points, and we know what Chris Jones has done to this Elks defense. So the Elks continue their losing ways. They lose 17-13. They had 3 chances from the goal line, to win the game and pay us all out, but they couldn't do it. Fourth and goal, and they could get nothing. Taylor Cornelius did not look good. They have Geno Lewis now. He was the East Division most outstanding player last year. And Geno Lewis looked awesome. 5 catches for 148 yards. He's very, very talented. But Cornelius, I don't know if he's good enough, man. I just don't know if he's good enough. Edmonton's defense looked good. I mean, they held Trevor Harris to 179 yards on 33 pass attempts. There's this idea that this is going to be so much harder of a task with Vernon Adams, and I'm not nearly as high on Vernon Adams. Look, the Lions put up 423 yards against Calgary, but still only put up 25 points. He's not going to be someone who's spectacular in the red zone. And Taquan Mizell looked amazing. So they give away James Butler in the offseason at running back, and of course Mizell looks like a monster. So Edmonton is a horrific football team, and Chris Jones is changing that. And when is it going to change? I don't know. Hasn't changed yet. Has not changed yet. Lucky Whitehead did not practice all week. He's out for the game. So that's that will hurt them. So and Browns Hughes says major move to the Cubs. So we're going to get to baseball here very, very soon. But I would like the BC Lions team total under in this one. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. And then will I also want the under? I expect the market to move heavy on the over. I expect there to be a vividness bias of the Lions offense from last year, and it won't be from this year. You're going to see this Lions team have long drives. They've had 423 yards against the Stamps and only put up 25 points. That's going to be something we see. It's going to play well for unders and team total unders. I think the Lions are going to be very good with that. And, we were all on the under against Calgary. So I expect that to happen again. So I want the Lions team total under. And I wouldn't mind the full game under, but I don't want it at this price point. I think this is a perfect line at 45.5. So I want to see it climb, and I expect it to climb. I expect money to come in on the over here. All right, so there is that's Saturday night. So here's Sunday. So this is an interesting one. I think all you NFL fans are going to find this interesting as well. I'm all over this game. Hamilton, Toronto. This is a rivalry game. This was a game where we bet unders nonstop. First half under, full game under. We bet unders nonstop. But McLeod Bethel Johnson's gone. He's gone. He doesn't play in our league anymore. And the new quarterback is someone you guys all know, Chad Kelly. And Chad Kelly is a feast or famine quarterback. And he's got an enormous arm on him. And he's going to want to send a message. There's been this monstrous move towards the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We saw this in the BC Calgary week 1. We also saw this in the Elks Saskatchewan game week 1, and it didn't work out. We saw this last night in the Stampeders game, but this is more like the other two. It's really more like the Edmonton one, because the Hamilton Tiger Cats have gone from dog to favorite. They were 2-point dogs. They're now 2.5-point favorites. The market's moving briskly over to Hamilton. The total in this one here is what I've attacked, because this is so different. Again, like I think there's going to be vividness biases early in the year on some of these teams, like BC putting up 50 and 60 points with Rourke at quarterback. It's just not going to happen with Vernon Adams at quarterback. And here we remember these Ticats Argos games being low scoring games. I do not think this will be one. I think this will be a high scoring game. I think both teams will be able to score. There's been only 3 cents of movement to the over at Pinnacle. They're sitting here at 46.5. Bet Chris is at 47. I tripled up on this spot. This is a big Father's Day spot for me. I'm on the team total over for the Ticats at 23.5. I'm on the Argonauts team total over at 22.5. And I'm on the full game over 46.5. BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario. It's going to be nice weather. 68 Fahrenheit, sunny, 7 miles per hour. And Josh suspended for 25 games. Wow. I did think it was going to be more than that. I thought 50 could have been in the cards, but 25 is big. So, look, the Ticats looked awful in the early going, but they scored points late. I mean, we know the Bo Levi Mitchell era is starting, and they scored points late and got some confidence. I mean, that's what offenses need. When you're bringing in new players, you need some confidence, and they got that. The Bombers had let their foot off the gas. They weren't really trying. I also think it's really important to play the best team in the league off the bat. I think that helps Hamilton. There were injury issues for Hamilton, and they're in week 1, and they lost both right tackles in the game. They switched a defensive lineman to right guard. I mean, that's a huge problem. Also, Tim White, who led the CFL in receptions targets last year, left the game and didn't return. He says he's good to go. So no concern there. And Duke Williams, full participant practice, he's good to go. So they're going to have Tim White and Duke Williams good to go. It's just that will Bo Levi Mitchell get protection? This is the Argos season and home opener, and this is the Grey Cup champions of last year, who are dogs at home in week 1. I mean, it's against not a very good football team, but it's Chad Kelly. I think Chad Kelly is going to change things. I think this is a significant change here, and I think he's going to show out. I really do, and by show out, I mean take risks. I think he's going to take risks. TJ says when you do both team totals over and the game over, it doesn't mathematically work out. Just do triple the bet on the over and skip the team totals. Yeah, that would work to triple it up. You know, we now in a triple up situation. There's more concern if the Argos offense falls flat and the game actually goes under, but the Ticats offense does get over 23.5. I set myself up for a 1-2 day instead of a 0-3 day, and that was the only thinking behind it. Was just that it's less risky. But yeah, I can see where you're going. But of course, my thought process is I'm betting the same as a triple up, and if it's only one team that rolls and my cap on Chad Kelly's wrong, then I go 1-2. So that's all. Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get what you're saying, TJ. It's just it's allowing me to bet more and still kind of keep my risk down somewhat. That's all. Okay. That's all. Yeah. But I hear you, TJ. And Joe Yer says loving your gifts. All right, so that is CFL. So CFL, I've tripled up on Hamilton, Toronto. Then I have some interest in fading the Lions team total under and the full game under. I have interest in that in Edmonton, BC. And maybe I've just talked myself into the Bombers. Maybe I've just done that. And that's very possible. So I've got to now sit with that for a little longer. And I've already tweeted out my action. I already bet my action on the game on Sunday. All right, let's move on to MLB here. We're coming off a 4-3 day. I've noticed that these big dogs I've been taking first 3 have not been cashing. But I still like these first 3 bets, and the Guardians cashed the first 3 and first 5 double up. But I've noticed the plus 155s, the plus 200s, first 3s have not been succeeding for me. But I think the sample size is too small, and I'm going to keep firing away at this point. But I've noticed it. I started the day with 3 losers: Athletics first 3, Rockies first 3, and the Detroit, Minnesota first 504. A loss. But then I came home with 4 winners to get a winning night. Guardians first 3 and first 5. White Sox first 5 and White Sox Dodgers first 5 under 5. Spreadsheet play today had a casher as well. And Jose is coming off a great day. All right, let's move forward. Dunya, it's not easy. It's not easy to get the research done in CFL, but I'll hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter and I can give you some. All right, let's get to work. Billy Friedrich says, interested to hear why everyone's on the Cubs here. We're going to break that down right now. TJ says, personally, I've never bet a first 3. I do full game capping, so it doesn't make seems to add all the variance of a 67% shortened game. Well, I think it does for me, and I will put out all my first 3 numbers as soon as the sample size is a little bigger. But I want to cut down the game as much as possible. Is what I want to do. I want to cut down the game as much as possible when I'm on big dogs. That's just how I like doing it. But we'll be discussing all these things throughout the year, and then we'll have this course. We track all the action to see whether it is successful or not. And look at that. Bobby Boucher says, get Titty Boy in here. He is on fire. Look at Titty Boy go. Look at Titty Boy go. But we have a ringer. Unlike Titty Boy, this guy did play a very high level of baseball, was drafted in the very league we're discussing, was signed in the very league we're discussing. And, we saw Titty Boy's throw, and it was a little better than we expected. He broke 55 miles per hour. We were proud of him. Let's bring on our first guest. It's human background. Let's bring on our first guest from Dallas, Texas, ready to get us paid in full. Please welcome Daby Cab. Daby Cab, how are you, man?
Jimmy, man, I'm good. I'm just glad to be here. We had some crazy storms last night, a bunch of power lines, a bunch of trees down. My power was out, so I didn't think I was going to be here, but I am. So I'm glad to be here. And I got to throw Jose under the bus real quick, man.
Sure.
He came out and we were playing catch for about 5 or 6 throws. I wasn't even throwing the ball hard, honestly. I wasn't trying to hurt him or anything. We were just playing catch, and Jose's like, I can't do this, and he just quit. So.
Well, he hasn't done that capping wise because he could have quit, couldn't he, Cab? He was down 30 plus units. He could have just said, look, I can't do this. And instead, he's dug deep.
Well, he had an option. He was either going to go historically bad or amazing and fight back. And so he fought back because that was going to go one of two ways. It was either going to be minus 100 pretty soon, or he was going to get back in the area of the green. So I love seeing it, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's been fun to watch him climb up. Real Deal Prime says, Jose, defend yourself. Don't worry. He knows he's the producer of this show. He's got his finger on the trigger. He knows he can come on at any moment. So don't worry. Don't worry. Top Crocodile says, Jose is sharp now. It's been fun watching him roll. Let's get to work, Daby Cab, because this first game is extremely interesting. And those of you screaming, we want Titty Boy, will have an opportunity because he is ready to join us right now. One of his plays of the day is right here. So please welcome a man who was once known for sweet tea tits, but now it is the blood that we think of when we talk about his tits. Please welcome Jose Bloody Tits Bouquet to the show. Jose, how are you?
Doing well. Can't complain. Good day yesterday. Cab here just to make fun of my bets. Biff Tandon, a.k.a.
Hold on, Jose. I do not make fun of all your bets. Only the bad ones.
No, here he is again, Jimmy. I hope you have fun. He's not going to make fun of your bets, Jimmy. I can guarantee you that.
Jimmy doesn't make bad bets.
Ping pong. Fucking dominated him in ping pong. Can't talk shit to him now.
I mean, I'm here.
Okay, let's get to work. Fellas. There's been an enormous move from our chat on the Chicago Cubs here. Let's discuss this spot. But you have BJ's best bet on the Cubs money line. He's putting 2 units on it, so that's a K on that one. You have Browns Hughes with 2 units on the Cubs. You have Wine Time Sports on the Cubs. And Troy Torrance came in and gave his database play today on the Cubs' first half and full game. Ricardo Morel on the Cubs. Everybody on these Chicago Cubs. Joe Yurkovich says, I can't back Hendricks after allowing 1 hit. I mean, first thing I went to was how many pitches did he throw? He threw 94. So it wasn't too bad. Only threw 94 pitches. Didn't get to triple digits. But I am a little concerned about that as well. But let's talk about Wrigley Field here in Chicago, Illinois. We will start with the weather here in this spot. Oh, shit. Sorry. That's batter versus pitcher. There's way too many things up here. Okay, here we go. Let's get the weather up here. First off, the weather in Chicago, 61 Fahrenheit, 10.1 miles per hour in, goes to 11 by the end of it. 11 by the end of it. So we then go to Ballpark Pal, which gives us minus 18% home runs, minus 14% runs overall here. So then let's move over to the line history in this one and see what we are dealing with and why would Kyle Hendricks at home. Now, I didn't put up, we can talk about what he did last year, but he's only thrown 23 in the third innings right now. So why would we put up, his home splits? But why would Kyle Hendricks at home against Cole Irvin, who's, being so bad? Now he's come back, from the IL and had a nice start, but be at this price. This opened up with the Cubs at plus 106, and now they're minus 118. So just a monstrous move towards the Chicago Cubs. 24 cents of movement towards the Cubbies. Let's take a look at the total. This total opened up at 7.5 at most books. It was juiced to the over. It was opened here at Pinnacle at 8. It dropped to 7.5 at 9:07 a.m. And then it back up at 8. Not only that, but it moved to 8.5 at 9:30 this morning. So that was a full run move to the over in 30 minutes. And that's wild with no lineups being announced That's absolutely wild. Let's see. Are their lineups announced now? Here we go. See a quick refresh here. And yes, we have lineups now. For the Orioles, Henderson, Rutschman, Santander, O'Hearn, Hayes, Hicks, Frazier, Urias, Mateo, Horner, Swanson, Morel, Suzuki, Gomez, Yan Gomes, excuse me, Mancini, Wisdom, Amaya, and Madrigal for these Cubbies. So it's back to 8, but there's only been an 8-cent move to the over, and that's wild swings, man. Absolutely wild swings to go down to 7.5, then go up to 8.5. Daniel Sun says Orioles short travel and line moving towards the Cubs. He's first 5 minus 105 at Bet Online. He said he could have, but now it's first 5 at minus 117. Joe Yurif says the Orioles are the number one most profitable betting team. Nutflush Allen says have to bounce in and out, but just heads up, bunch of players decided that taking all their small children to Disneyland yesterday was a great way to get ready for the Dodgers game today. Wow, that's some wild
shit. I'm muted. The 8th of November, Nutflush. I'm gonna be in Vegas the 8th of November. Also, you, Jimmy, make a trip. Jose, you can come with me. You got to buy your own plane ticket though.
Wow, that's but that's wild. So a trip to Disneyland. The Giants took their kids to Disneyland. That's a wild game too with Sheehan, but well, that's our final game on the board. So let's get back to this spot here. Let's take a look at the cash flow, and I imagine that the big bets are right with you guys. Let's find out here right now. We have on the total 31% of tickets and 92% of cash on the under. Well, that's wild. They move it up to 8.5 just to pick up more cash on the under. That's wild. Absolutely wild. From a money line perspective, 59% of tickets and 78% of cash is on the Cubs. Wow. All right. RVD says Cubs. Hell no, though. So there's our first guy who does not want the Cubbies. Cole Irvin, 1-2, 7.85 ERA, 1.75 WHIP, 18 Ks and 18 and 38 walks, 2 homers last start. Allowed 1 earned run over 5 1/3. It was at home versus the weak hitting Royals. Hendricks was incredible in a 4-0 win at the Giants. 8 innings, 1 hit, 3 Ks, 1 walk. Didn't allow a run. Orioles versus righties, 267 with a 780 OPS since May 15th. Cubs versus lefties, 242, 707. Orioles bullpen, 3.97 ERA. We still believe it's elite, although they haven't been pitching that way since May 15th. Cubs bullpen's been atrocious, 5.32 ERA. And we have a say hey play of the day here from young Jose Bouquet. Let's hear it, Jose. Wrigley Field, Orioles, Cubs.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Jimmy, that breakdown made me feel shittier about my bet, but I'm on the full game under here. Wind howling end. I don't love backing Kyle Hendricks to have a good start after having another great 8 innings, 1 hit start there. But I think that line movements to the Cubs mean that he's going to pitch well here. The Cubs can't hit lefties, 25th over the last month, 77 weighted runs created plus. Cole Irvin, got humbled by going into the minors like you love, Jimmy. Spoke about it in an interview, which was interesting. So I like that Cole Irvin is doing that, and I will back him to pitch well here. So I'm on the full game under here, 8 minus 105.
And did you tweet it out?
Yeah, I tweeted it out right before I jumped on here. Shout out to our friends at Bet Online, who you can get an account with today using the links on the Pub Sports Radio website. Get some good deposit matches and such.
$1,000, 100% up to $1,000, which is very strong. Wow. And Londo asking if I like the over 7.5. With the total jumping all over the place like that, it makes me extremely uncomfortable to have action on it. And with everybody on the Cubs here, I get it, but I don't know if I want this. Piker says Irvin's not great, but he can handle a weak lineup like this. Steam on the over probably isn't because of the Cubs hitting expectations. Wow. Let's hear what Daby Cab has to say about this spot. Daby Cab, here we go. Wrigley Field with the Orioles and the Cubbies. This is our only afternoon action.
Before I break this down and say something that's just a little bit different about like the Cubs and lefties, I just want to point something out. You can take, a full year sample size. You can take 2 week sample size. Hell, you can take 3 days sample size and you can make it fit your cap with baseball. And it's an interesting thing. So you got to really find what works for you and where you think the wave is going to happen. And this is directed at you, Jose, because we have fun on your show and go back and forth. And sometimes my cap is just different than yours. But for anybody that thinks I joke about Jose, I implore any of you to go public with your record, have over fucking 440 bets fucking this many games into the season and be in the black or close to the black. I implore anyone to do that shit because it's impressive. So regardless of if we disagree, Jose, I hope you know that I do think you're a good capper. Now on to this one. The Orioles, they are the better team, but right now the Cubs are hot. They've got consecutive series wins over the Giants and Pirates. Hendricks on the mound. We talked about it. He was dominant in his last start. He held San Francisco to no runs, 1 hit, a walk in 8 innings. So it was impressive. Chicago struggled to play throughout the season, but here's where I was going to say our cap is a little different. I have their splits on lefties, and I'm just looking at for the whole season. That's why I said there's different ways to look at it. 262 batting average as a team, 431 on base, 764 slugging percentage. And they also hit better at Wrigley. They're hitting 253 as a team at Wrigley. So they're hitting better at home than they are on the road. And Hendricks was lights out. I everyone in the chat that's on the Cubs here, I don't hate it. I'd lean Cubs here. I don't really have a feel on the total, so I'm not going against you one way or the other, Jose, but I'd lean Cubs here if I had a side.
Yeah, I get it.
Urban's been just bad.
Last start was against a weak opposition, but impressive. But I hear you. Also, we're going to switch the Ron Crawford spreadsheet record. That's a couple days old. So we'll get the new record. I could just say it up here. It's not that it's still plus 3.12 units, but he went 1-1 last 2 days. A plus 108 and a minus 108. So it's 21 and 18, 53.8%, 8% ROI, average line minus 102. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And shout out to Mike M for catching another RBI ribeye play of the day with Ramirez. What a monster. And I know Jose was on that as well. Yeah, look, I get it. I'm not going to chase this Cubs look with you guys. Clearly, I had concern. Maybe it was a mistake, but, after Hendricks pitched so spectacularly well, it's also not, back-to-back home starts, so he doesn't have that continuity. And you guys have heard that. And for whatever, Noli questioned it, and I get why he questioned it. Like, so he was like, so do you not want a pitcher you're betting on to come in off of a good start? And it's not, and it was a good point by Noli, but I do like having, and is Hendricks still an ace? I don't even know if he's still an ace, but I do like elite pitchers off of a bad start, which is, of the Gaussman situation today. Billy Friedrich says O's are just a much better team overall in his opinion. And Joe Yerk says Irvin is average overall, so is Hendricks. I will cheer all of you guys on. This is not how I want to start the day, jumping in with all of you guys on the Cubs and getting in late at a much worse line than you guys. So I'm going to stay off. But Jose is on the under 8 at minus 105. We have Browns, Hughes with 2 units on the Cubs, Wine Time Sports on the Cubbies money line, BJ on the Cubs money line for 2 units, and Troy Torrance on the Cubs first half and full game. And TJ is moving in on the over, says it's moving to 8.5. So we have movement on the over. Joe Yurko says the wind is not howling. It's not, 15. We've seen this wind go up to 22 and 23 miles per hour. So I get it, but this is not where I'm starting my day. Jose, do you have any last words on this spot before we move on to the evening slate?
I hope my under cashes because everyone's on the over. It doesn't make me feel great. So, but we'll see. I think 10-mile-an-hour winds are still pretty heavy, but we'll see. It's going to be a good game to watch.
There it is. That is our 2:20 p.m. opener. Again, Jose running hot and on the under 8. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Miami Marlins 38-31, 17-18 on the road at the Washington Nationals, 27-40, 12-21 at home at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. And Nutflush On says when Hendricks faced the Giants, 4 of those batters were almost automatic outs. And then they sent all those guys down. There was a big change in the roster there. But Real Deal Prime is on the under as well. All right, let's talk about this Miami-Washington spot here. We'll start with the weather. In Washington, 75 Fahrenheit, 7.1 miles per hour left to right, slightly in, and then it's left to right. And then by the end, it's very, very slightly out. Nationals Park, plus 5% home run rate, minus 15 doubles and triples, which is strange, but it's just a 0% on runs overall. We have a few parks we have one park that's extremely offensive today, Fenway Park, just ridiculously offensive. But as we've seen of late, most of the parks have a negative expectation from the average run spot. Ricardo Morel leaning to the Marlins and the under. Joe Yurkovich says Miami is the most expected win differential on the season. Says they actually should be 31 and 38. Well, watching Yuri Perez pitch right now, God, he's got to be inspiring everybody else on that staff. I'm excited. And what's going on with Sandy Alcantara? What's going on with him? I mean, 2-5, 4.75 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. He just doesn't seem to be able to be trusted. I never know when he's going to turn it on. He turned it on last start, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 4 Ks, 2 walks, the 5-1 win at the White Sox. He probably should be stronger. He's had some bad luck. I think, I'm going to pull up his BABIP on the road. He's a 4.91 ERA, 31 Ks, 12 walks, 4 home runs allowed in 36 2/3, and opponents are hitting 252 off him. If you look at Alcantara and Trevor Williams, you'd say, well, yeah, I'll bet on that guy, But look, Trevor Williams has better numbers than the Dominican Cy Young Award winner of last year. He's coming off a 6-2 win at the Braves. We know what the Atlanta Braves are doing with their sticks right now. He was 5 innings, 2 hits, 6 Ks, and 1 walk. He's actually striking people out this year. 52 Ks and 65 2/3. Still, that's 13 home runs in those 65 2/3. At home, 3.72 ERA. Now, he has allowed 6 home runs in 29 innings, but opponents are only hitting 227 against him. The Marlins versus righties since May 15th, 256, 731 OPS. The Nats versus righties, 260, 736 OPS. Marlins bullpen 3.80 ERA. Nats bullpen 5.50 ERA since May 15th. So let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Line history. God, my wife's using the vacuum. I'm going to fucking lose it. I'm going to lose it if she doesn't turn off that vacuum.
We can't hear it.
I know, but I can. Okay, she has turned off the vacuum. Thank you for turning off the vacuum. The total opened up at 8.5. There are still 8.5s out there. This opened up at Pinnacle at 8.5 as a pick'em. It's now a 4-cent move to the under. This dropped to 8 at 10:53 a.m., but it's come right back. From a money line perspective here, we have the Marlins opening up at Pinnacle at minus 171. They're now minus 152. We have a 19-cent move to the Nats at home, but the Nats have gone from plus 156 to plus 140. Wow. Can you trust Trevor Williams up against last year's Cy Young Award winner is the question here. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this spot. Our first night game of the day, 70% of the tickets, 79% of cash on the Marlins, and we have a move towards the Nats. And that's just absolutely wild. And from a total standpoint, 70% of the tickets and 99% of the cash is on the under. And it went down to 8 and immediately back up to 8.5. Jesus, this is a wild one. Take it away for us here, Daby, Cab, Marlins, Nats.
Man, a couple of these games are tough today. Like this one, this Nationals team, averaging 4.2 runs per game. That's 23rd in baseball. They're young, man. This is a young team, and they're stumbling from what I've seen. Marlins have been a reliable squad, even on the road here. They've won 6 of their last 9 road games. That series win Chicago earlier in this road trip. And they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. You look at the Nationals, like I said, they're just a young squad. They've dropped 8 of their last 10 games. And I don't, it's just not a team that I'm excited to get behind or back. I know that there's good spots for each team, but I'd rather pass before I got behind Washington. And you said it, Sandy looked like, his elite version of himself last game. That was against the White Sox. Him and Cease both pitched well, so both of them kind of turned it around there. It was fun to watch. And he could, right here, Alcantara completely dominated the Nationals last year. He's a 0.9 ERA and 4-0 in 5 outings. So, and also you look at the Marlins, even with how much he's struggled, Marlins have won 3 of his last 4 starts. So, I mean, they're still getting behind him. They're still winning games with him. I kind of would look Marlins here, or I'd just stay away from it personally.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a chance that I would ever, and this was one of the first games I looked at, touch, a team that has everybody betting them and the market moving hugely in the opposite direction.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I would just pass it, but I also wouldn't bet the Nationals here. This is just a young team that I don't see any reason to get behind.
Was an impressive victory yesterday, and they could have beaten the Astros in back-to-back games. And I know the Astros are a little different now. Due to injuries, their lineup is not nearly as fierce. Billy Friedrich says live betting the Marlins if they go down early. Here we have 99% of cash on the under. I mean, that's just obviously makes me want to bet the over. I guess it makes me want to have nothing to do with this game when it comes down to it. I mean, I don't see why. It's hard to back Trevor Williams. I don't mind doing it at a dog price, but I think that the breakdown from Rick J is pretty succinct. Saying Sandy's been having mechanic issues with off-speed pitches, throwing from side of hand instead of coming over the top and getting more spin, led to hanging breaking balls. Looks like he fixed it last game.
I was about to touch on that, and I was just going to say, market can say whatever it wants. Jimmy, if he got his stuff back last game and you're on the other side of this game, you're going to realize it by about the second inning and you're going to fucking regret it.
Oh, I know. I feel that.
And I'm not saying you, I just mean anybody in general. I watched that last game with Cease. Both of them pitched outstanding. It was fun to watch. I think they both got up for the game, but, Sandy's got to get something rolling here, especially with the way this Marlin team's been winning.
Yeah, Londo says, do you like Washington money line? All I can say is that there's no way I would bet the Marlins with what I'm seeing in the market here. I don't know if I can go. I don't want to. Sandy Alcantara, we all know what he's capable of, and we just saw him deliver it. We're also watching Yuri Perez be spectacular. I mean, how could that not inspire Alcantara to be better? And Piker saying Washington first 5, leave the pen out. But the pen was excellent against Houston. But I hear you. They've been bad since May 15th. So with all that being said, I'm just and Piker says I capped this at -120. Wow. For me, I'm just off of this spot. This is not a spot where I want to attack. But those of you, Roger, that's saying can't do the Nats, but Londo liking the Nationals. I respect that, Londo. There is Sharpie in the house. Another week up units. Haven't had a losing day in June. Wow, I love it. Sharpie, keep rolling, my man. All right, I'm off this spot. There's a ton of opportunities here. Even though I do think the card is difficult, I do not want to be here. Mickey Cohen says he likes Washington moneyline first 5 only. Says they have some momentum from the Astros series. Yeah, they do. There's no doubt about it. Okay, we move on. Now, this is a game that we all think is going to go here in Boston, and we hope so because Parlangel is in Boston and wants to watch this game. We all think it's going to go, but there are some issues. Nasty Nate told us that there is supposed to be rain at 7, so why don't we just go straight to the actual weather report here in Boston and see what they are telling us here. So it's warm and nice right now. It's not supposed to, from this report, deal with any rain. This one says there's not going to be rain here. Oh, until the showers come around midnight. But we'll see. Billy Friedrich says a Yankees first 5 money line +102. Start my card. Sharpie says with Garrett and Perez both on pitch counts, they're asking a lot of Sandy, and they expect them to go deep in every game. And JP says, holy shit, says Adam Frazier home run prop +900, worth a bet. Let's talk about this spot here. Boston Red Sox at home to the New York Yankees. Domingo Herman and Tanner Houck. And we have a ringer that we'll bring on for this. Let me just set up the game here quickly. And, of course, we'll start with the weather, what we are dealing with here in Boston. It is 75 Fahrenheit, 6.6 miles per hour, right to left. But that changes drastically. Now, it doesn't get stronger wind, but all of a sudden it's out to left field after about an hour, out to left field. And it's sticky. They have +5% runs, +26% doubles and triples, +15%. +5% home runs, +26% doubles and triples, and +15% runs. The next highest on runs is 3%, but the Ballpark Pal has this at +15%. Let's take a look at the line history here at Pinnacle for Yankees Red Sox. We have this line opening up -110. There's been a 12-cent move to the Boston Red Sox. And why don't I have the total up here? I thought I did have it all set up. Looks like I don't. Let's just go into the cash flow, and I'll bring up the total here in a second. But 30% of the tickets and 54% of cash are on the under. 30 and 54. From a money line perspective here, we have 52% of tickets and 68% of cash on the Boston Red Sox and Tanner Houck. Let's just grab the total here as well. I thought I had it up. I apologize, but let me just grab it here so we can discuss the line move on the total, because they say it's going to be offensive. And Pinnacle is the book that's moved it to 10. So is my bookie, but the rest are at 9.5. This opened up at 9 at 5:26 p.m., moved to 9.5 at 4.5 hours later, and it moved to 10 at 8:20 this morning. So that's what we have. So we have a move to the over. We have a move to the Boston Red Sox. Let's bring on the star of Say Hey plays of the day. Jose, your Red Sox are in play here. Herman coming off a really nice start at home versus the Red Sox. He went 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run. I know you watched that game. He's been good enough on the road through 30 innings, 2-0, 4.20 ERA. 25 Ks, 13 walks isn't what he wants, but 204 opposing batting average. And Tanner Houck, you've talked about how good he is the first time through the lineup and how he struggles afterwards. I want you to touch on that. His numbers, 5.23 ERA, don't really fall in line with 62 Ks and 63 and 2/3 and a 1.26 whip. Yankees are not hitting righty since May 15th, 226, 713. Red Sox 246, 696. And Yankees bullpen has been very good, while the Red Sox bullpen has been middling since May 15th. Take it away for us here, Jose. Yankees against your Red Sox.
Yeah, it's a tough one here. And actually coming into this, I don't have a bet. Last weekend we cleaned up on this series. I was betting unders. And they cashed all of them, even threw in a home run and prop in there. That was cool. But I just really don't think this is a good spot for Tanner Houck here. You touched on the back, or like the second time through the order here. I'm worried how that's going to happen in a back-to-back. That is just not going to – I don't know if that's going to be a good thing, especially because, it's literally like his next start. If you don't know about these struggles, first time through the order – opponent batting average is 160. Second time through the order, opponent batting average is 323. So I'm concerned that back-to-back here is going to bite him in the ass here. So honestly, I was much more closer to taking the Yankees here than taking the Red Sox. And totals-wise here, you mentioned that this park is, everyone knows Fenway offense, etc. But Ballpark Pal saying there's going to be a lot of offense here today. I still lean under, truthfully, and I don't know if I'm going to man up and take the under. The real issue is market-wise, it's like more people are betting the unders now after last weekend. And actually, let me refresh here. Actually, this has changed quite a bit since I last looked at it. 70% of bets and only 46% of money on the over. Here, Jim, if that's what you're seeing, that's shocking. I saw it when I last looked at it. It was about 50-50 with 60% of the money on the over or on the under there, and just more bets on the over. I still lean under, I guess, is the sum of this. But, Bovada odds were weird. They're giving you the 9.5 at plus money. I was kind of looking for a 10. A 10's minus 130. So I still lean under, but I don't know if I'm going to play it here.
Yeah, this, it was very difficult to find games that correlated. I was hoping that now with more information in the market that I'd be able to pull the trigger on some spots. And I do like some, but this one doesn't really work for me. Let's hear what Daby Cab has to say about it. Yankees, Red Sox.
I agree with Jose. Really, I'd lean Yankees here at even money or plus money. They've won 3 of their last 4 road games. Last 3 games, they put up 14 runs on the road. So playing decent offensively there. And I think Houck's going to I think he's going to struggle here on the mound. He's given up 10 runs in his last 3 starts. He gave up 7 in his last 3 starts against the Yankees. So they've seen him plenty, like Jose was talking about. And his second time through the lineup, well, this is his 6th, 7th, 8th time through the lineup with the Yankees in a small period of time. I don't know. And I just, you look at what the Red Sox have done. They've lost 3 of their last 5 games and 5 of their last 6 home games. They've still been doing a little bit offensively recently, 15 in their last 3 home games. But I think they're going to struggle a little bit here. I would look Yankees, honestly. That's where and I might get there again. And if I have leans here today, like I said earlier, my power was out since like 4 a.m. and it was like fucking trees falling and shit was crazy out here. So I wasn't able to like finish my complete cap on everything. I've got some action, and I might have more, but I got to look more into it.
Yeah, I mean the market indicating, Londo, that the Red Sox are the spot, but you heard from two cappers here on the show that they're leaning towards the Yankees. So this is a very difficult spot. I don't feel comfortable moving on it here. TJ says, Jose, I'm with you today, waiting for an under 10. I think we'll see it later.
Yeah, that's the hope. That if that happens, and obviously say, hey, plays 4:30 or 4 Central, 5 Eastern. If I do get an under 10 at a decent price, I probably will play the under.
Well, we have 10s at Heritage and at Pinnacle. So they're coming. The 9.5 is up to minus 125 at spots. Yeah. So the 10s are coming.
Yeah. If I get a 10 at, like TJ said, at -1 or minus 110, I'll probably bet that. Yeah.
All right. Let's rock on. Cuban Wayne Gretzky says the goal today is cash these tickets and be high like Daby. That's what Cuban Wayne Gretzky says. All right, let's roll on here. Thank you, Jose. The next spot is it was tricky at 6 a.m. So last night, I went to bed like 1:30 or some shit, and the bet I thought I was going to give out on radio in Toronto this morning was the first 5 under in the Jays game. That market's gone heavy against me. I'm not going to give that. I didn't give that up. I've bet it, and I don't know if I'm going to buy off of it or what. But then the spot that came the closest to correlating everything, nothing did fully, but the spot that came the closest was here in Cardinals, New York Mets. It was a Michaelis first 5. The one thing that didn't work for me is that I think Tyler Miggle actually has some value at home. I've succeeded on first 5 unders with him at home. He is had 32 2/3 of innings at home. He's 3-1 with a 3.03 ERA, 221 opponent's batting average, and he's only allowed 2 homers. The issue is his K to walk ratio is bad. 23 Ks to 17 walks, and he's looked awful of late. I mean, that last start at Pittsburgh, he allowed 9 runs, 7 of which were earned over 3 2/3, and that was, for me, the spot that made me feel like I could still make this bet with confidence. And Mike M talking about Unmuted. Have you guys started the promo for Unmuted?
Un poquito, just a little bit. It's on my Twitter page. I put a little promo out there, so go check it out if you guys want to see it. But it's very small.
We should take a second here. Tell them what Unmuted is.
Yeah, it's going to be a show with me and my guy, picks from Dave Rogers. We're going to do a little bit different of a vibe, and we're going to have some interview sections. And right now we have some very I got to use the right words here because I got to be proper when we do this interview too, Jimmy. So that's part of what I'm practicing. Sure. Highly esteemed sex workers lined up for a few interviews. I think I said that correctly.
Yeah.
And I mean highly esteemed. So it'll be a really good time. So come check it out. We're going to interview them, get to know them a little bit. And you don't got to pay for it like OnlyFans. It's free right here on Pub Sports Radio.
I'm getting a little esteemed just hearing you talk about it. So I think it's going to be a popular show. I think this is going to pop. So
it'll be more than just sex workers. That's just the first one we have. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have just said that.
No. Just stick with sex workers. I think that we'd prefer that. But it's of course, it's your show. We are excited about it. This is Unmuted. Do you know when it pops off?
We're 1 to 2 weeks out, so we'll give a date soon. I just got to confer with everybody else. We're waiting on a little other background footage from the bar at Southtown. Some other stuff. We're getting some more stuff. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of different vibes in here for everyone.
I like it. So that is Unmuted, coming soon to Pub Sports Radio. All right, so let's get back to this spot here with Miggle. He's the question mark here. If you go into batter versus pitcher, which of course, in this type of a spot where you're in the National League with, two teams that aren't in the same division, but pitchers that have been around and know each other. I wanted to know exactly what the situation was for Michaelis, and I knew that Miguel might not have a rich history against the Cardinals, but I knew that Michaelis would have seen them a lot, and that was the second thing that made me pull the trigger. So here against the Mets, Nemo 0 for 9 against them. Marte in 35 at bats, of course, because he was with the Pirates. Marte hitting 143 with no home runs. Francisco Lindor 1 for 6, no ribbies, no jacks. Eduardo Escobar is 2 for 11 with an RBI. That Tommy Pham 0 for 4. That gave me enough to move on this. Now, there were problems, though. The Cardinals money line on the game was minus 115, and the first 5 was minus 110. Why would it be 5 cents cheaper here if McGill is supposedly a question mark? I would just like to see it right now to see if I can have a little bit more confidence in this breakdown than I have already. But I've bet the Cardinals first 5 at minus 110 already. So let's just see what it is here for me very quickly and see if I can believe in this spot. I shouldn't. It's gone 5 cent move back to the Mets. But so there's been a flip. So instead of the game line being at minus 115 and the first 5 minus 110, it's flipped. The Cardinals are now minus 110 for the game, but minus 115 for the first 5. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that makes me feel much better. Also, there's been a very small sample size of people who've seen Miguel, but Carlson's 1 for 2 against them, Edmund 1 for 2, Goldschmidt 1 for 2, and Arenado 0 for 1. So those are the only people who have seen him before. So let's just set this up very quickly and hear what Cab has to say about it. 68 Fahrenheit, 5 miles per hour, right to left. Then it becomes slightly out, then slightly in. The wind really not that important. Let's see what Ballpark Pal has to say about Citi Field here. They got Citi Field as the 3rd worst offensive spot, minus 10% runs. It's actually plus 3% in homers, but minus 10% for doubles, triples, minus 12% for singles, and minus 10% for runs overall. Let's go into the line history here for this spot. We have Miguel. Oh, sorry, that's not Pinnacle. Get over back to Pinnacle. So we have Miguel sitting at plus 100 right now. So there's been no movement really since it was plus 101 at Pinnacle when I made my move on the cards. So it opened up minus 110, it's now plus 100. So a 10-cent move to the Cardinals. And then from a total perspective, we have this opening up at 8.5, and it moved to 9. So, the first time it moved to 9 was 9:03 p.m. And then 8:03 a.m. it came back to 8.5. It's back at 9 right now. So we have a half-run move to the over, which means there's added volatility, which does make me a little nervous. And we have a 10-cent move to the Cardinals. When we go over to the cash flow for this one, we have for the total 78% of tickets, 81% cash on the over. That makes sense. And then we have 77% of tickets, 85% cash on the Cardinals, and then the move towards the Cardinals. Rick J says, if the cards are anywhere close to minus 110, I'm off. He says, too much turmoil in-house. Curtis Berry looking at Nolan Arenado props. Curtis Berry moved on the cards last night, says expects St. Louis to hit well today. Not so confident with the Mets. TJ says that makes perfect sense considering the St. Louis pen problems. The Mets pen has been atrocious as well. Yes, there's an issue with rain, Joe. 82% rain at RotoWire. And when we go over to the actual weather report here in New York, we've already heard from Domi that he's concerned this game won't go on. This is from Domi straight up. He says, from boots on the ground, it says, looks like it's going to rain for the Met game. He says a delay is very probable. Says locals are showers at 4 p.m. and sometimes heavy. So he is concerned about it. And when you go to their weather report, there's a thunder shower at 3, and then it stops raining for a little bit. It looks like it doesn't start raining here back again until maybe 9. But yeah, so I still think that the first 5 can get in. And then TJ says, anyone follow the cards closely? Any chance Goldie or Nolan will sit? For Michaelis, his last start was bad. 8-4 loss at home versus Reds. He had been looking better. He allowed 5 earned runs over 6 innings. But he's been very good on the road. Maybe very good is a little much, but he's been trustworthy enough on the road, and he's been much better in the last month. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, Cardinals, Mets.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go into his stats. I was like, well, damn it, Jimmy, that's what I was about to do. But yeah, you said it. He got hit in his last start, gave up the 5 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts against in his last start here. But in his last 3 starts, he's got a 3.32 ERA. So that's including that. He's 1-2 with a 3.32 ERA, a 1.21 WHIP. He's got 14 strikeouts, and that's over 19 innings of work. So even with that blow up, he's been a little bit better. Michaelis is somebody that I've enjoyed betting last year. I haven't really bet him much this year. I've only bet on him, I think, once. I got out of it with the win, but it was kind of I think it was a little bit luck also. Against the Mets here, though, he's appeared against the Mets 5 times. This is his 4th start against the Mets. He's had 4 starts. This will be his 5th start, excuse me. And he comes in 1-1 with the 1.64 ERA and a 0.86 WHIP, and that's pretty fucking outstanding for 4 starts there, 5 appearances, only 4 walks over that time period, 14 strikeouts, and that's 22 innings of work. So basically, this Mets team is a team he's comfortable pitching against here, and he comes in. He's only pitched 1 time at the Mets Stadium, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 7 innings. He had a 2.57 ERA in that game, so he's done good here. I think I agree with you, man. I'd be on the Cardinals first 5 if I bet this. I'm not, but I would. That's where I'd be.
Yeah, maybe maybe this. I just wasn't confident enough to double up. Joe Yerger says, any interest in the first 3? Yeah, I had interest in the first 3. In this situation, though, I was a little concerned that Mego would be really happy to be home and where he's pitching well and look okay the first time through the lineup. Enough that I didn't want to double up here. So, yeah. So I stayed off of the first 3, but I did look at both quickly and only moved on the Cardinals first 5 -110. Happy to see that there's a 5-cent move now in the first 5, but I did think that it was a little simple. Like if you look at Tyler Megal, you're like, wow, he's terrible. 5.14 ERA, 1.70 WHIP. And look at that last performance, it was awful. But he's been good at home, getting out of jams. But there are jams, 23 Ks and 17 walks. So Andrew G says fade Megal and the awful Mets or take the worst Cardinals team in 30 years. So Andrew G doesn't like either, and I get it. But I'm on the Cardinals first 5. Is this a spot that you're thinking about, or do we move on?
I'm not going to bet this. Jimmy, I'll say this really quick, and this isn't like to go in depth, but anybody who follows knows I tweet every bet that I make out. I've had a lot lower volume this year, but right now I'm 62-44. I've struggled. Hell, fucking half my losses have come on your goddamn show. But I do Jose's show also, and it's been my record's really good there. The good on the sesh. But anyway, 62-44 on the season. My volume's been lower, man. And as much as I like giving people bets, I don't do it for that. I do it for my bank account. And that's what matters at the end of the day. And I have action today. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. I love talking baseball and I love breaking it down, but sometimes I might have, 1 to 3 bets.
Yeah. Do you, my man? We believe in you. You're here for a reason. Let's keep rolling. Next up for us, 7:20 p.m. Eastern, Colorado Rockies, 29-42, 13-23 on the road at the Atlanta Braves, 43-26, 21-15 at home, Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a funny spot. The Braves seem to have such a wealth of young pitchers, and some of them are pitching spectacularly well, and some of them are not. Dylan Dodd struggling. Jared Schuster just seems so average to me, such an average pitcher. When I look at it, what he's done in the past, I just don't see. Tom Miggins, my man, be well. If I missed, I sure did not want to miss any of your levels play today or anything. So please, if I did, let me know. But be well, Tone. Let's get into this though. I was surprised there was no market move towards the Braves, but I guess it's because Schuster is not that good. We know the Rockies haven't been hitting lefties. 88 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 9.4 miles per hour out to left field. It dies down to 6.8, but it's hot in Atlanta. Let's see what Ballpark Pal thinks about Truist. It's the second most offensive park today. 0% for home runs and doubles, +4 for singles, and just +3% overall. So it's an offensive spot. Piker says over, ugly game, says a lot of runs in his opinion. Daryl Lyle's also on the over in this spot with Dinelson Lamet with Jared Schuster. Lamet finally had a good start, and part of it probably is he was going up against the team that he started with in the Padres. I was not. I didn't cap that game. I believe that was what, Sunday or Monday. But I would have liked Lamet for the first time. Well, I have already bet him once, and it was atrocious. But I would have liked him probably in that spot. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, 1 homer, 5 Ks, 3 walks, 5-4 win at home. Look, he's looked bad here. I don't know what we're going to get from him. There was a time where we thought he was capable of being a top of the rotation guy. That was years ago, and he never followed through, and he went through Tommy John. Joe Yerkovich says, refresh ballpark, pal. Sure, I will refresh it here. And okay, plus 1% now home runs and plus 2% runs. And Schuster is just someone who he's just so average to me. This year in Gwinnett, he had a 3.28 ERA, but a 1.38 WHIP, 23 strikeouts and 14 walks in Gwinnett. I mean, it's just not that impressive. He looked good last year in Double-A Mississippi, but he went up to Gwinnett and was just middling and average. In Wake Forest, he wasn't really that strong, but he was a first-round pick in the end out of Wake. So they and this is a brass that you got to really believe in with the Braves. So if they like him, then we should probably too. And he's coming off a decent start: 5 innings, 3 earned runs, but 8 hits in a 6-4 win at home over Nationals. But notice no strikeouts and no walks. He has 21 strikeouts and 19 walks. Now, he's only allowed 2 home runs and 35 2/3, but I just don't trust him. I just don't trust him. So, Dinelson Lamet versus Jared Schuster here at Truist Park. The Rockies are hitting listen to this. Remember when they used to rake lefties in years past? 207 with a 598 OPS versus lefties since May 15th. Atrocious. The Braves are destroying righties, 278, 820. The Rockies bullpen's being so bad. TJ says, I believe average versus the Rockies on the road is all you need. 2 to 3 runs allowed over 5 is all the Braves need for a 7-4-ish win. And Jake Burns says Wake Forest will win the College World Series this year. Alonso says, do you like the Rockies money line? He likes the Rockies to win. Look, I don't I think that it's very telling that the market hasn't moved. So let's just go over the market. This opened up with Atlanta minus 238. They're now minus 228. So you have a 10-cent move towards the Rockies. I think that's very telling. From a total standpoint here, we have this opening up at 10 at minus 105 to the under. It's now at 10.5. It moved to 10.5 at 8:18 a.m. I think that's telling that these pitchers can't be trusted here. And from a cash flow standpoint here, we have 11% of the tickets and 55% of the cash on the Colorado Rockies. So yesterday, it was similar. It was very, very similar. The big bets were all the Rockies. I had the Rockies first 3, and it was awful. They were up 1-0, after the top of the second. I thought maybe I was in for a cash opportunity, but then 5 runs were scored in the bottom of the second. And I had 3 spots yesterday where there was very few tickets and a ton of cash on them. And I went 1 for 2, down 0.95 units on those 3 spots. So it's not just a guarantee, it's not just, it needs to correlate with your X's and O's. 71% of tickets, 97% cash on the over, 97% of cash on the over. Take it away for us here. Rockies, Braves.
Dave and Razor are so cute. How they try so hard to get a reaction in the chat. Keep trying, guys. You're doing good. Both you guys. I agree with your cap on this. The 19 walks to the 21 strikeouts, I can't get behind that. Like, that's just something that I wouldn't look at. I think this is going to be an ugly game. I think the chat was kind of on point with that, saying that there should be runs here. But you touched on it with Colorado. How much do we trust them to score? If I was going to bet this game, I'd probably take a Braves first 5 team total over. I'm not betting that, but that's probably the most comfortable bet I would feel like would be out there in this game. Colorado won 2 of 3 from Boston on the road earlier this week. But I think this Braves team's a little bit steeper of a hill, so to speak, for them to climb up to get a win. And Lamet's been awful this year. Just absolutely unreliable. Colorado struggles on the road. Everybody knows what their struggles are like on the road. They can't put up runs. They flat out don't do it, which is the only reason I'd stay away from the over in general in this game, is because I don't know if the Rockies are going to put up any runs or not. I think they could. I think the Braves are vulnerable here for runs, but I don't know if Colorado is going to be able to capitalize on it or not. But like I said, the Braves have a very prolific offense. They're outstanding. You saw how many runs they put up in that doubleheader against the Tigers. I had the Braves first 5 -1. I thought for sure that was a loss with that first game. They fell down 4-0 and then, finished it out 7-5 somehow in the end of the first 5 because the Braves, it's what they do. They can put up runs in bunches really quickly. I'd probably either just look Braves run line or Braves team total first 5, but I'm not betting this game.
Yeah, I'm off of it, but TJ on the Braves first 5 team total over 3.5. I think that makes sense. Markel thinks the Braves are going to dominate -3 on the Braves. Yeah, I don't trust Schuster at all, but this should be a spot that works for him. You have a Rockies team that can't hit lefties, so
exactly.
I'm very curious to see what Schuster does in this spot, but I'm off this one. Let's move on to what may be the mistake of the day for me, and that's Toronto Blue Jays at Texas Rangers. We're at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Roof is going to be closed here, and I thought a couple things here. I thought that Kevin Gausman coming off getting lit up in a 7-6 win at home versus Minnesota. Sorry, it's my son. It's nap time. He's nonplussed. I thought that this was a great bounce back opportunity for him. Look, I know that the Rangers are hitting 275, 813 versus righties, but if the splitter is on, Gausman is dominant. No one can touch it. So it didn't concern me how offensive this Rangers team is. And then I love Martin Perez at home. I mean, he's a gift to all gamblers at home. He's got a 4.67 ERA and a 1.56 whip. On the road, he's trash. He just went to Tampa and they touched him up 7 earned runs in 3 1/3. At home, though, 25 2/3. He's 3-0. He has a 1.40 ERA, 21 strikeouts and 5 walks, has not allowed a home run. I just love backing him home. And here's a Jays team that's not hitting lefties. 241, 646 OPS since May 15th. The Rangers bullpen's been bad. So I thought that this, would be a spot here where I was going to be right. And it turns out that I was wrong. But it's not as bad now as it looks. This first 5 under opened at 4.5 -111 to the over. It moved towards the under at 146 this morning. At 148, it was -1. At 148 this morning, there'd been a 12-cent move to the under first 5. Now, I didn't realize that it happened. I got in, when it was, -105. But that would have made me. That's what I expected to have happen. But things changed around 2 a.m. The over started getting hammered to the extent that at 3:35 in the morning, it moved to 5.
I don't know if this helps you or not, Jimmy.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of how to present this. I think the first 5 over is getting hammered more just because the Rangers' first 5 overs, especially at home, have hit at a ridiculous rate this season, more so than the reason, this game being something that people are seeing for a reason. I think it's more maybe of just the fact that the trend of the over is hitting so much for the Rangers in the first 5.
Yeah, and that's also part of what who was saying, Andrew G was saying that, betting the under here in this, against this team. So, look, Stacks play today is on the Corey Seager over 1.5 bases here. And we heard Spenny on Chapman hitting 438 against Perez. And part of that also was that I was like, well, Chapman's not hitting anybody right now. We've moved him down to 6th in the lineup, and we got to do something with him. Now, I can understand Spenny believing that this is the perfect lefty to get Chapman back hitting again. And we saw Jose cash the Devers home run prop when he hadn't hit a home run in a long time, but he was going up against Cole, and now he thought he was going to, get him rolling here. So Joe Yeager says the public loves the Jays bats. There's a tax. So here, looks like it's probably a mistake. It's still at 5 right now. So let's just go to the full. But it did drop. We have seen 4.5s hit here. So the 4.5 came back. Now this has always kind of been a 5 juice to the over, but we saw the 4.5 come back at 6:31 this morning, then back to 5. So when it's at 5, you can tell people are hammering it because this got up to minus 122. Then it dropped to 4.5 again at 10:50 this morning. So I wish I got a 5. It was a mistake that I did not get a 5 here. Let's take a look at the line history here. We know that the roof is closed. It's hot. Just for the full game money line on this one. So the total's gone from 8.5 to 9 for the full game. And money line wise, this opened up here at the Jays at minus 140. They're now minus 142. This had been a move towards the Rangers, so much so that when were they at minus 127? At 11:30 last night, the Jays were down to minus 127. But right now they're back at minus 142. So 2-cent move towards them. So let's just quickly take a look at the cash flow and then hand it over to Daby Cab here for the Jays game. For the total, 59% of tickets, 64% of cash are on the over. For the money line, it's even. You have 55% of tickets on the Rangers, 50% of the cash. So it's very, very even. Jake Burns probably going to be on the Rangers first 5 minus 1.5. Jake Burns liking that spot. DC Cappers on Toronto minus 145 here. Mike M says when Toronto starts a series on a Friday, they're 0-9 to the under. Wine Time Sports on the Rangers money line. Jake Burns thinks that Gaussman's going to get hit today. Ricardo Morel must as well because he's on the Rangers and the over. Gaussman, of course, got lit up last start. He's been good on the road. 253 opponents batting average, 3.76 ERA, 51 Ks in 38 in the third. And he's only allowed 3 home runs in 38 in the third. And we already went over Martin Perez's home numbers. Take it away for us here. Daby Cab, Blue Jays Rangers.
This is kind of redundant to say this, but the Rangers have hit for Perez this year. He's been up and down as a starter, but he's 6-2 with that 4.67 ERA. Like I said, he's been up and down, but the Rangers have been putting up runs for him. You touched on it, though. At home is where he's been the most effective. He's 3-0 at home. He's got a 1.4 ERA at home. And last year he faced Toronto one time. He got the victory in that game. He threw 6 innings. He only gave up 1 run there. So he did well against them last year. And I think this is just a good price for the Rangers in this spot with Perez. One thing I don't like doing, though, is betting against sinker ball pitchers because you said it. Like when it's on, it doesn't fucking matter who's hitting. It's not going to get hit. And so, we've seen some of these, like over the years, some of these pitchers, like when they're sinkers on, they just don't get touched. And that's something I stay away from here. So the reason I'm not betting it is simply because of that.
The possibility of Gaussman looking great and bouncing back. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not going to buy out of it. I like that there's been some movement, at least when it's at 5. But I was wrong, clearly wrong. I'm not going to buy out of it, though. Mike M says Lowe's RBI is plus 240. Says this game screams under. Well, I hope it hits on. I hope. I'm not buying out of it. Let's move on. Let's move on to a spot that I invested heavily in. 8:10 p.m. Eastern, and Gerald Jones already gave us the best bet on the Angels Kansas City over 9.5. This was one of the fascinating spots here. By the way, Vital says Perez has an xFIP of 4.86. Blue Jays will get their hits. I wonder what his xFIP is at home, Vitalis. I'd be very curious to see that. Loopy saying that he would jump on Toronto. Yes, Don Play. I don't know if I'm going to end up pulling the trigger on today's game, but those breakdowns are off the top of the show. TJ says he's got a lot of success with serious bets and have not shared one here before. No worries, man. Anytime you want to do that. Joe Yerger says Nerfy's only at minus 105. I invested very heavily in this, and this was a spot. There was 2 things happening. One, the full game total was going up and climbing to was going up a half run, while the first 5 total was going down. And then we had all these bets and all this money on the Angels, and there was reverse line movement. The market was moving, pretty legitimately towards the Royals. That movement stopped. So it makes me quite nervous. By the way, there it is, TJ, with the gift. White Sox to win series at plus 147. The gift is in. White Sox to win the series at plus 147. That's exciting. Let me just put that here before the White Sox game, second to last game that we'll be capping. Thank you for sharing that with us, TJ, my guy. Jake Burns says he can't trust Sandoval here. He'll probably just bet the Angels team total over. Wine Time says the Halos infield dropping like flies right now, unfortunately. Ricardo leaning to the over here. So, Nutflesh on says, Pete and I always have had the same mindset on Gaussman. A great live bet due to knowing if the sinker's on by the first inning. But yeah, we talked about that last year with Jose Barrios. We talked about the movement that he has on it. You can tell exactly. We had all the measurements last year, and you could tell if Barrios was going to be on based on the movement of his slider, and it worked out really well. Barrios is on right now. By the way, thank you, TJ. Piker says I have Rangers minus 150. Can't be right. So much value there. Here, I want to see where the markets move now because I thought, well, there's two things, and one thing that I need to mention is that, and Jose will vouch for this. I made a ton of money on Brady Singer last year. He was awesome. He was so strong, and I can't forget how good he looked last year. And he's not looked like that this year. Obviously, that's a problem. I had him last game. I still feel like he's capable. If I can just be ahead of the market on this, I can make a lot of money off Brady Singer again. And maybe this is the last time that I go to the well. Also, there was a huge move towards the Angels when there hadn't been, and it really bothered me. I'm not going to mess with this Royals bullpen, also because the Angels bullpen is really good right now. The Royals bullpen is, and I've been saying it over and over, not as bad as the numbers indicate, but here on the first 5 money line, I moved on KC, and this opened up at Bet Online. They're not giving me Pinnacle's moves. This opened up at Bet Online at plus 130. There was a 10-cent move to the Royals on the first 5 at 9 a.m. And clearly that was too much because 10 minutes later, there was a 5-cent move back. And at Bet 365, it was even bigger. I got the Royals first 5 at plus 120. Or sorry, first 5 at plus 130, but first 3 at plus 120. Then when I went back, it was then plus 135 on the first 5, and it was plus 130 on the first 3. I'd like to see what it is right now. Right now, the Royals, first 5 is back at plus 130. Okay, that makes me feel good. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. So it's moved back. Let's just see what it is first 3 innings. Plus 120. Okay, it's right back to where it was. Okay, that's thank God. Thank God. Christopher Comentini says, Casey and No, tell him, Cab. You guys, if you watched me last year, this was a gas station sushi move. There's enormous value in the worst teams in the league because everybody wants to fade them. So I don't care what a team's record is on the season. I take each game as an individual entity. Shout out to Arthur Meade Jr. And now, Joe, you're going to be saying Sal Perez could be out. Obviously, that would hurt badly. Rocco thinks Sandoval and Singer get hit today. Shout out to Arthur Meade Jr. Thank you so much for the $5 donor. You're a good man. CFL's back, man. Argos start off today, and I think you're coming up at some point. So you got to let me know so we can grab a beer, my friend. But here we go. I'm on the first 3 Kansas City Royals at plus 120, the first 5 at plus 130. I'm also on the first 5 under 5 at minus 120. Like to see what the movement on that first 5 is here.
I know that you're right about what you said because I don't bet against the worst teams in baseball. Like I don't bet on them, and I give Jose, I gave Jose a hard time for taking Kansas City against the Reds. But I just thought the Reds it was more about not going against the Reds at that time. But yeah, I stay away from the worst teams in baseball. Like I don't bet against the A's and I don't bet against the Royals because there's no value in it, like you just said. And with how hot this fucking Angels team has been, to see this line at minus 150, I don't know.
Well, I get it.
They're begging you to bet the Angels.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So I get it. If you're seeing value in the Royals, I guess I'm seeing it. And I'm learning now still. A lot of my bets are based on like how I perceive the game of baseball, not necessarily the market of gambling, which is so important. So I'm always still learning, from you and about this. I never stop learning. And that's one thing I get it. This is fishy. Why the fuck are the Angels minus 150?
84% of the tickets and 79% of cash is on the Angels, and we've seen big movement towards the Royals. We'll go over the full game. picks from Dave with a $10 dono and a gag for us. A $10 dono and a joke for us. We love it. We love you picks from Dave. All right. So just so you guys know here, so 84% of tickets, 79% of cash on the Angels, and the full game move towards the Royals has just 7 cents. 7-cent move towards the Royals. 8 cents from the Angels' perspective, minus 149 to minus 141. So we have a move to the Angels and all this money on the Royals. Then on the total, we have 80% of tickets, 71% cash on the over, 80 and 71 on the over. Let's move over to full game here. But I do want to touch on this quickly. This first 5, I'm on the first 5 under 5. This moved to 4.5 at Pinnacle. It was at 4.5 for a while. Even the under 4.5 started getting juiced, but that changed. And an hour and 15 minutes ago, it's back at 5. So, I imagine that. I thought that would be something that would happen. And here with the total 80% of tickets, 71% cash on the over. But the full game total, I said was moving to the over while the first 5 was moving to the under. And, you can think that the Royals bullpen is a part of why that is. But here, the full game total here actually opened up at 9. It opened up at 9, lasted there for an hour before it hit 9.5. And then it went back to 9 at 6:37 a.m. I didn't realize that. It also went back to 9 again at 9:52 a.m. So you have all this money on the over, all this money on the Angels, and the market's not moving in their directions. Look, Patrick Sandoval has not been good lately. Last start, 5 earned runs in 5 innings at home versus the Mariners. He's had 2 really bad starts in a row. On the road, he's got a 4.71 ERA, and he's 26 Ks and 18 walks. The K to walk ratio is pitiful. Look, the Royals can't hit lefties. 236, 636 OPS, and the Angels are raking right now. But I just felt that there was enough here for me to take the plus money spot and believe in Brady Singer over Patrick Sandoval, who's been scuffling. And TJ says, based on comments from Nevin, wouldn't be surprised to see Ohtani sit. And Nutflesh says, if you're looking to bet on bad teams, in my opinion, you should always seek out the team totals if you feel the dog is live. A lot of times the dog team total over will be very low. And shout out to Jay's final take, a member of Weeby Pubbin. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, Angels, Royals.
Man, outside of his last start against the Orioles, Singer had been looking better. Like, you're right. You might have been trying to get out in front of it there. He had what was it? He had 2 fewer runs, or 2 or less runs in 2 of his last 3 starts. So yeah, he was pitching a little bit better. Disappointing season though, the 6.58 ERA and the 1.59 WHIP. You'd expect that WHIP to be a little bit higher with the 6.58 ERA. I know 1.5 is high, but I'd expect it to be a little bit higher. So maybe there's something going on there. Maybe there's a little discrepancy there that we could see Singer start bringing that ERA a little lower. This is a tough game for me. I really see what you're talking about with the market. The Angels are playing outstanding baseball, and as somebody who, I want the Rangers to win the division. I'm watching this Angels team right now, and I've been more worried about them than the Astros for the last little bit. I know that might sound a little crazy because the Angels always fall off, but right now they're just playing really good baseball. But it's a matter if they're going to stay healthy or not. And the Royals have just had an absolutely disastrous season. What is it? They got swept by the Reds, and it's 9 consecutive games right now. They're battling for the worst record in baseball with the A's. So there we go, talking about the worst team. And why are the Angels minus 150 when people are betting on the Angels and it's not moving? I don't know. I get what you're looking at. I'm going to pass this game.
Yeah. With these spots, they used to be stay off spots, and now they're invest with some strength. And that's what I've done in this game. Joe Yurkovich really likes the Angels team total under 5. There's a problem when you watch these games. We talk about Spanky beating market moves and then going out for dinner. He doesn't watch the games, so he doesn't have these biases, and the biases hurt us. They always do. And I have a bias about the Brady Singer. He made me a lot of money last year. I know that he can be elite. He was their best pitcher last year. All right. Justin McAfee just bet the Royals. Team total over 3.5. Ricardo Morel says Royals and under. He changed his mind.
I think he's right. That team total is probably the best. And Nutflush even touched on it too. And then Justin dropped it. I mean, that team total doesn't look like a bad bet whatsoever.
Yeah. But I love what Nutflush does, and he does it so spectacularly well in NHL as well. But my bet here is on Brady Singer. And that motherfucker better not let me down. All right, let's move on here. And I would like to move on this, and I can't wait. You're the perfect person to have here for this next breakdown of Cincinnati Reds at Houston Astros. Clearly, the Reds have a good vibe going on. You know, Ellie De La Cruz has been a big part of that. But also, they're bringing up young pitchers that they believe in. And Andrew Abbott, is, to me, the real deal. He this year went to AA and AAA, and he was lights out. This is a really young dude. He just turned 24. He was drafted in the second round just last year, and he was awesome in AA and AAA. But it's no different than everything he's done. You know, in 2021, he was in rookie ball in high A. And he looked fine. It was a very small sample size, but he looked fine. In 2022, or he was in regular A. In 2022, he's high A and AA, and he had 3.81 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. You know, he looked good. He had 159 strikeouts in 118 innings. Then this year, he goes from AA to AAA. He makes 10 starts between AA and AAA, 54 innings, 90 strikeouts. And we've seen pitchers like Reese Olson have those kind of K race numbers, but no one has those combined with the great WHIP and ERA. I mean, you could look at Yuri Perez, but that was in AA. And AA is a ton of talent. Maybe, I guess Cab could talk to us more about where the talent is, whether the top talent's in AA or AAA. But in the combination here in 54 innings, 90 strikeouts, 7 walks, 2.50 ERA, 0.93 WHIP. He's thrown 11 2/3 innings in the majors. He's trying too hard. He's the K to walk ratio 10-7. He's yet to allow a run. And I wonder if the Astros offensively are vulnerable right now. And I don't know what to make of JP France, because I believe it was Rocco Rogers, and I'll pull up JP France's numbers. I'll do that after. There were people high on JP France when I wasn't. France coming off a 6-4 win at Cleveland. If you just look at the 6 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, it's good. But another spot with 6 Ks and 6 walks. I don't believe in him. And he struggled at home. In 16 2/3 innings at home, he's allowed 11 earned runs, 5 home runs, 13 Ks and 6 walks, 19 hits. The Reds are hitting 258, 736 OPS versus righties since May 15th. Astros versus lefties, 269, 799. But do you think that is the same without Yordan Alvarez in the lineup? So I wonder if this is the spot here.
What's the Reds team total here? I think I might have to bet this.
Well, I like the sounds of all that. So let's just discuss. So the roof is going to be closed. Let's go to the line history and the total here, and then hand it over to Daby Cab while he's looking up the team total here for this spot. So we have the Astros opening up at -175. They're now -159. We've had a huge move towards the Cincinnati Reds. From a total perspective, this opened up at 9. It's dropped to 8.5. That's telling me that these pitchers are going to be good here. Let's go over to the cash flow then. From a cash flow perspective, is this time to just pull the trigger? We have here we go. On the total, 52% of tickets and 99% of cash are on the over. And it's dropped to 8.5. 99% of cash are on the over, and it's dropped a half run. I mean, you've got to feel like an asshole if you made a huge bet on the over and it's dropped a half run. Then you have 37% of tickets and 83% cash on the Cincinnati Reds. How do I not bet the Cincinnati Reds here? How do I not? I should have already bet them. Nate Dogg says, jumping in real quick, leaning Cincinnati run line and money line. Rocco Rogers on Reds first 5 plus 160 says he's still high on France. So it was Rocco, but he's shaky at the moment. Seems to either have it or doesn't have it. I think Abbott gets touched eventually, and this may be the spot, but right now he is on the Reds first 5. Robert Franklin bet the Reds last night plus 157. Joe Yerkes is also motivated against the world champs. Take it away, Daby Cab. Touch on the AA, AAA thing. Your thoughts on Andrew Abbott and your thoughts on JP France and whether you're moving on.
I mean, notoriously, there's more talent in AA. AAA is like to get people right, and you're going to see a lot of older players that are kind of hanging around in AAA that might not come up to the majors. AA is usually where the real young talent is. Look, man, this Reds team, not only have they been hot, they have the third best run line cover percentage in MLB, 60% or 60.9%, almost 61%. Their record is underdogs to the run line, 34-20. And their record is underdogs on the road is 20-9. They've been hot on the road, hitting 259 as a team. So they're hitting better on the road actually than they do at home. They're hitting 244 right now this month, which isn't terrible. That's after a good showing in May where they hit 266 as a team. And you look, JP was out of control his last start. He gave up the 7 hits and walked 6 batters, just absolutely erratic on the mound. And that was on Friday against Cleveland. I think the Reds have a good shot at not only covering a run line here. I think they have a good shot at winning this game. I just looked up their team total. It's over 3.5 at minus 118. I'm going to bet that. When I get a 3.5 against a team that I think is going to win a baseball game, and they're on the road, that's what lines up for me. 27 ounces is important to me. I've heard people shout out to our guy Earl. He talked about how the last 3 outs are baked into the line. So maybe I'm overstretching it here, but I agree with Nutflush. I like having the full 27 outs when I'm going for a team total. So I'm gonna hop on the Reds team total here. One of the hottest teams in baseball. Win or lose this game, I think they put up some runs for us.
And when we go over the numbers of Abbott, and I get caught up sometimes when a middling prospect comes up. Because, look, I know that JP France is a professional, a 14th round pick, but Andrew Abbott might be the ace of the Reds staff as, they move forward. Are you as high on Andrew Abbott as I'm starting to become?
I mean, I think he's got the stuff, obviously. He gave up just the 1 hit in his debut. Even just having the mentality to go out there in your first start in the majors and do that speaks volumes to who he is. I'm not talking about like what he's got, like pitching wise. I'm talking about between his fucking ears, which is one of the most important things in baseball. To come out and dominate like that in your MLB debut, just like I said, it speaks volumes to where he's at in his headspace.
And he also went into St. Louis. We know the rivalry there. Londo asking if I like the Reds run line. I don't believe I've bet a plus 1.5 in my entire life. I don't. I just I bet plus halves in the first 5.
Sometimes, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. Here I'm going to be on Reds first 3 and first 5, but I'd like to see it be a lot more expensive. I would prefer to see this a lot more expensive. So it's plus 140. There it is. Look at that. We've talked about this. We talked about this a lot last year. Bet 365 offering the Reds full game at plus 145. First 5 at plus 130. 15 cents. That doesn't bother me either. That more excites me. Plus 120 in the first 3. 25 cents. All right. First 3 and first 5 on the Reds for me. The team total over 3.5 at minus 118 is the same at Pinnacle. So that's what you're getting. I can't beat that. All right, we're in business with the Cincinnati Reds. First 3, first 5 for me. Cabs on the team total over 3.5, and I can't wait to watch Andrew Abbott pitch. By the way, our Monday Night Live, because Sunday's Father's Day, we're going to do Monday Night Live, and we have Blue Jays Marlins, but we also have Scherzer at Houston. That's the second game. Maximus Scherzer at Houston.
You know, one of my favorite things to do that I don't tweet out live bets. I think that's horseshit. And anybody who does, it's cool. Go ahead and do it. I'm not trying to hate on you. I just personally don't tweet out live bets. I live bet baseball a lot, Jimmy. So I need to hop on there with you. I love live betting baseball. I'm more profitable at that than probably anything that I do.
It's fun. You can really take advantage, especially when men are on base.
Like you get the other team. You hop on the other team when you got people on base. You're especially it's like you got bases loaded, 1 out, and the line goes crazy. Hop on the other side. You're 1 pitch away from getting out of that inning.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's really, really fun. And so that's going to be Monday. We'll also hammer Mountaineer and Assinibois as we go. So it'll be a fun night. Let's move on. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. It's Joe Ryan at home, coming off a nice performance at Toronto. He's been phenomenal at home this year. And the question is, how expensive is too expensive? I have Tyler Alexander as the pitcher for a bullpen day. Does RotoWire have Tyler Alexander as the pitcher here for a bullpen day? Let's find out. Just do a quick refresh. And they do. So that's what I expect to have happen. I expect it to be a lefty off the top. Twins are hitting lefties, 252, 736. They're also hitting righties just a little bit worse, 232, 710. By the way, Mr. Heat found you the team total over at -115 at BetMGM, so we'll give you that price here.
Appreciate you. And I got to bet it after the show. I haven't actually bet it yet, but as soon as the show ends, I will.
Yeah, I will do mine as well. I think that this huge move already to the first 5.15 cents won't be more than, even if a bunch of people here watching bet on. I don't think it'll change that much. It's already changed enormously. I'm already late to the party. But here we go. How expensive is too expensive for Joe Ryan? At home, he's throwing 30 2/3, 35 strikeouts, 5 walks, and he's allowed 1 home run. Just 1. 190 opponent's batting average. And the Tigers are hitting 225, 675 OPS versus righties. So let's take a look at the situation here. We'll start with the weather in Minnesota. 76 Fahrenheit, 4.9 miles per hour, right to left. It goes up to 5.6. So weather is a non-issue. It's minus 16% home runs, though, over at Ballpark Pal. Minus 2% runs overall, though. And Tyler Alexander, 5.23 ERA, but a 1.10 whip. He's the kind of guy that you want a lefty out of the bullpen. Now, he's allowed 7 home runs. That's not what you want. But 30 strikeouts, 2 walks. At least he's not putting ducks on the pond for no reason. And let's take a look at line history and hand it over to Daby Cab here. So, Tigers, Twins. A lot of books have not popped this out because they didn't know who would start. Will Hill, my bookie, they're up. So let's use Will Hill and my bookie have crazy different numbers. My bookie has the Twins at minus 212. That came out at 4:42 a.m. I wonder if that's not updating. Maybe that's just not updating. I would have to go on to my bookie. At William Hill, though, this opened up at minus 250. So I don't think that, and that just opened up 30 minutes ago. So that's probably where the line is. I think somebody told us what the line is. Yeah, Ricardo is saying it's minus 250 at Caesars. Mike M says, huge Detroit win yesterday. Said Matty Boyd tried to get us, but first 5 full game was a great victory. So here, let's take a look at the cash flow. Oh, we didn't look at the total. Sorry, let me just grab that. Even though the books are just coming out with this, got to do our due diligence. Looks like an 8. Will Hill's opened this up as an 8 juice to the under. And then I guess it's probably useless looking at the cash flow here. Yeah, 611 tickets in, but 43% of tickets, 70% of cash right now on the Tigers, and 75% of tickets, but just 17% cash on the under. Take it away for us here at Daby Cab. How expensive is too expensive for Joe Ryan?
So on that topic, I've got a question for you. I touched on this. It was on Jose's show, either Saturday or Wednesday. I don't know, because I'm on there Wednesday and Saturday with them. But and I got some pushback from some of the OGs in the chat. I think Dami said he's never bet one before, and a couple other people were in there saying they didn't like it. But how do you feel about a -1 in the first 5 when you get a decent line on it? When you got a huge number like a minus 250, but you can get a -1 at like minus 110 or 115.
I always look at what it is. I always look at the price and decide whether it's fine. I've maybe just a few times this year, but it doesn't concern me at all. Just because if you're winning, if you're up a run, you get the push. And so I would have to go over how successful I've been, and I could pull up my spreadsheets right now, but it does not. I have no problem with it at all. You know, if you have a huge favorite, and all you have to do is be winning to not lose money. I've taken the Dodgers in that situation over the years more than any other team, and been successful with it. So I like it.
Okay, because a lot of what I do is, capping pitchers, which, as a pitcher, it's my favorite thing to do. And a lot of the pitchers that I cap and a lot of the way that I gamble is I ride with certain pitchers in certain situations. And some of those pitchers in those situations, they have a high line and I have to take the -1. But it's worked for me. Like you said, I'd have to look at my numbers for the full season this year. I know it's positive. I'm not going to say it's a ton, but I know it's positive. I've been on the Braves -1 a few times this year, and it's cashed for me. I was on Darvish -1, but anyways, that's what I wanted to ask. So maybe like if you want to bet, that was all about your question. What's too pricey for the Twins here? I think if the price is too much, if there's a decent -1 line, if you want to bet it in the first 5, that's where you bet it. If you have to go -1.5, or if the juice is too much, I think you stay away. Personally, but the Tigers, they've lost 9 of their last 10 games, 7 of their last 8 road games. They've struggled offensively on the road. They've only put up 5 runs in their last 3 road games. I mean, this is Ryan at home. I mean, I expect them to struggle again offensively here in this game. They did put up some runs against the Braves at home. That was nice, but the Braves are winning with their offense, not their pitching right now. So. And you look here, Ryan's 4-0 in his 5 starts against the Tigers. He only gave up 2 runs in his last 4 starts. So, again, I'll say that. He only gave up 2 runs in his last 4 starts against them. He's been absolutely dominant against them. And Minnesota's got the 6th best bullpen in baseball here, so I don't expect them to fall off too much after him. I think Detroit's offense is going to be kept in check here. Twins have won, 4 of their last 5 games and 4 of their last 6 home games. In their last few games, which I always like to look at for the offense, they put up 17 runs in their last 3 games. I think they're going to keep playing well here. I'd probably bet the Twins first 5 -1 if there's a decent enough line. Otherwise, I'd stay off.
Well, I can tell you I'm 1-0 this year on first 5 -1s plus 1.09 units. I cashed with McClanahan and the Rays about.
And there you go. That's the pitcher situation. You took one of, if not the best pitchers in baseball. At a -1, which makes sense to me. Which, here in this spot would kind of make sense to me also.
My concern here, and maybe this will lead me towards the under, is that the AJ Hinch seems to handle these bullpen days very well for whatever reason. And the Tigers bullpen is a bullpen that I like. So that would make me hesitant here on the -1, but if that's the case, then maybe I should be looking at the under. This isn't available for me here, but maybe that would be the look at this point. Let's just see what 3. So one thing where that made me skip those -1s is I bet first 3s -0.5, and in that Rays game I had the first 3 -0.5 too. So it was a big, and those are my only 2 bets were first 3 -0.5, first 5 -1. I cashed them both.
I don't get those lines, Jimmy. I wish I did. I think that I need to open more accounts somewhere where I can get those lines, because I need those, and then I also need first 5 team totals. I think that I would probably bet nothing but first 5 team totals if I was able to bet those.
Bet online does first 5 team totals because Bet365 doesn't offer them.
Okay,
which is wild that they don't. But here the team total for the Tigers in today's game is 2.5. 2.5. That's just wild. And then for the first 3 here and the first 5, so the first 3 -0.5 for the Twins is -120. Again, I'd be nervous about that just because I don't know how much offense is going to be in this game at all. The first 5. See, this is a problem. Like the first 5 -1 here at Bet365, and Pinnacle will give you a better number here. But this isn't enough for me. Like I got a plus 109 when I did it with the Rays that day. But here, I'll tell you what the first 5 -1 is if I built it. It is.
Here, let me look too. Let me see if I've got it, because I've got somewhere that shows these for me.
It's -118. Like that's just not enough to be up 2 runs. Let's just see what Pinnacle is offering here for the first 5. So I build it over at 365. I can build it at -118. If I wanted to do it here
Why can I not find this? Oh, there it is. It's like I can't find this damn game. Totals are sitting at 7.5 and 8 for this. Wow.
Yeah, very low.
And that's expecting low volatility. That's another thing that might cause a little concern for a -1. But I mean, like I said, and you said it too, I'm not scared of the push. I see at a few places I'm seeing a -114 and a -115 for the -1, all the way up to -121.
I have some interest in this first 5 under, and even this full game under. I want to wait until the line comes out and I can study where the market's going. But I'm going to trust it here. Joe Yeager says DraftKings and points bets off first 5 team totals and first 3 totals as well. Oh, offer first 5. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm interested in unders in this game. All right, but we need to wait a little bit for everything to come out. Let's roll on. This is a fun pitching matchup. One of my favorite pitchers, same age as me, Rich Hill, 43 years old, on the bump for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 34 and 33, 16 and 17 on the road against the Brewers, 34 and 34, 18 and 16 home. When we went off about how we did not believe in the Milwaukee Brewers, I did not think to then bet the Reds to win the division or the Pirates to win the division. That was a mistake. I knew I didn't want the Cubs, but I bet the Cardinals, and it's too bad. I could have got a ridiculous number on the Reds and the Pirates. In saying all this, let's just see what it is right now here for the futures in this division, because it is a ridiculous one. At this point, I think the Reds are the most likely team to win this division, and I can't even believe I'm saying that. The Reds are plus 450 right now. Cardinals are plus 750. Do I really think the Reds are better than the Pirates? It's is it time to put a little bet on the Reds to win this division? Like, what if Abbott is lights out spectacular? What if these Reds become buyers?
Hey, I think they're having a young team can be extremely beneficial or extremely painful. If you look at who are we talking about earlier? The Nationals, that's falling apart for them, but the Reds have a young team and they're winning. That shit is contagious. Those guys are having the most fun of their life right now. I can see the Reds winning the division.
Wow. Look at Gerald Jones got 30 to 1. And here I'm thinking about 4.5 to 1. Wow. Okay, I'm going to think about this here before the game pops off.
It's a big deal to think about what I'm saying, though. Like, they're having fun playing the game. As dumb as that sounds, it's so fucking important when you play so many games every single day, like day in and day out. The grind is just unreal. Those kids are having a blast right now.
You know what? I'm going to make the decision after I see Abbott throw 3 or 4 innings, because the Reds are dogs here. If the Reds go down, I'll get a better number if I just wait till tomorrow. So I'm going to take that back. Joe Yeager says, how about Teheran? Where did this come from? I have no idea. I guess the fear of, poverty can push these guys to be spectacular once they're gone for a couple of years. But this is shocking. I mean, it's just unbelievable that Teheran would be doing this right now. When you take a look at what Teheran has done, let's just take Abbott out and move Julio here. I don't know how anybody could have predicted this. And in his second start, I faded him because I was like, well, there's no way, right? There's no way that Teheran's going to keep pitching like this. There's a reason why he got ditched from the league. I always liked him. He always had a ton of character on the mound, and he was a fun guy to back. Sorry, this is just I'm getting up his minor and winter leagues and all that stuff up here. It's just taking. Here we go. So I don't know how this is happening in El Paso. Before he came up, now we know that PCL is a wild offensive numbers, but 5.63 ERA, 1.68 WHIP. Like, he always is good when he goes down to Dominican Winter League, but he was in Tijuana and got lit up. He was playing independent ball with Staten Island last year as well. He actually looked okay there. But look at these numbers. I mean, he had a 10.05 ERA in 9 starts, a 10.05 when he was jettisoned from the league. I mean, But if you go back to 2019, I mean, this guy was a star pitcher.
Yeah, he was outstanding, man. He was electric if you go back.
Yeah. Rich Hill has stepped up, coming off that 14-7 win at home over the Mets. In Rich Hill's last start, TJ gave it out as the gift. I only took the first 5. Should have taken first 5 in full game. On the road, Rich Hill's been excellent. 29 and third, 3-2, 3.68 ERA, 241 opponents batting average. Teheran has been unhittable, 1.48 ERA. He's only thrown 24 in the third. He's walked 3 batters, struck out 16, 2 home runs, 0.95 whip. The Pirates are hitting 255, 744 OPS versus righty since May 15th. Brewers aren't hitting lefties at all. This should be a great spot for Rich Hill. And these 2 bullpens are getting lit up and smoked. Pirates bullpen 5.19 ERA since May 15th. Brewers bullpen 5.36 ERA since May 15th. So let's go over the line history and maybe more action here for me in this spot. So first off, we'll do the full game money line. This opened up with Milwaukee minus 119. They're now minus 113. So there's been 6 cents of movement over to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Then let's take a look at the total in this spot. This opened up at 9. The under 9 was getting hammered, and Pinnacle moved it to 8.5 at 10:37 this morning. So Pinnacle's hanging the 8.5 with Teheran versus Rich Hill. I mean, that's just unbelievable to think that would be happening. Let's see what they're doing for this here. It's still at 9, but it's minus 125 at Bet365. So I guess you have to have some interest in the under. You have to have some interest in the Pirates. Here you have 18% of tickets and 31% of cash on the over. So 82% of tickets on the under, but not as much cash as you would like. And then from a money line perspective, 19% of tickets are on Rich Hill and 37% of cash. This will be a Pittsburgh Pirates bet to me. I will leave the under out, and I want to move on Rich Hill, but let's see what Daby Cab has to say. Take it away, Pirates, Brewers.
I'm just going to leave it at I lean under in the first 5 in this one. Teheran, you go back, man, his stuff was electric. And I have some numbers here, but they don't mean shit because he hasn't thrown in so long. But he is 5-1 in his 9 starts against the Pirates here. He's been electric to start here. Pirates have been struggling. They've lost 5 of their last 7 games and 2 of their last 3 road games. But even with that struggle, they've done well offensively. Of late, they put up 18 runs in their last 3 road games. I don't know. Teheran. One of the things I was looking at today was the Brewers' first 5 on the money line. But I tell you what, I'm going to try and be more strict with the market, and I'm not going to go against it. So if you say the market's saying the Pirates here, I'm going to pass.
It is, but do I really want to fade Teheran is the question.
I was looking to get behind him. That was kind of my cap. Yeah.
Let's see what's going on with the first 5 total here. I imagine I'm late to the party. My unknown with Teheran is the reason why I didn't hammer this harder before.
He's got good stuff, man. If he figured it out, I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps it. I mean, obviously he's due for regression because he's not going to keep an ERA under 2. That's not going to happen. But if he figured it out, I could see him continuing to have a good season. I mean, you look at his first 4 starts, he's gone 5 innings or more in every single start too, which is outstanding. First one against San Francisco, he went 5 innings, 4 hits, gave up 1 run. Second start in Toronto, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs. Then he threw against Cincinnati, 6 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. And his last start against Oakland, 7 innings, 1 run. So he's going 5 or more innings in every start. And he's pitched well on the road and at home. It really hasn't mattered. He's just kind of been in the zone.
I think that I can count on Rich Hill to have a good start here. I just want to go over the batter versus pitcher here quickly. But if that's the case, then how would I lose the Pittsburgh first 5 at plus money? Well, it would be if Teheran is spectacular, so why don't you just bet the first 5 under? You have Santana and Koch, and I mean, they hit him, but there's not much. All the young kids haven't seen Teheran. And then look at Rich Hill's numbers. Yelich, of course, you guys have talked about him in the chat. He's hitting 385 in 13 at-bats, but with 1 RBI and no jacks. Not a player has a jack against Rich Hill. Now, we're only talking, 18, 19, 21, 22, 27 at-bats in total. But of those, you have So okay, we have Yelich. Other than that, they have had 14 at bats against Hill with 2 hits and 1 RBI. And then if you add in the 13 at bats, only 2. Look, Joe Yurkovich says I cannot trust Hill to have 3 good starts in a row. Well, that is fair. So let's take a look at how good these 3 starts have been, because he's clearly a different pitcher than he was in the beginning of the year. And look, I get that that you cannot trust Rich Hill to have 3 good starts in a row, but you think this Brewers team that's just lacking so badly in any kind of offense and can't hit lefties is going to be the one that lights them up? We have, small percentage of tickets on the Pirates and a good sized amount of bets. I mean, people have a vividness bias against Rich Hill of him being terrible, but he's been great the last 2 starts. He's been great, but they were both at home. His last road start was bad, but the road start before that was spectacular. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the first 5 and the first 5 under. I trust Rich Hill to be at least decent here. But
You're taking the Pirates first 5 and the first 5 under?
I am.
Good. I like it. I mean, I like the under at least. I kind of lean Brewers, but I'm going to root for you because I'm not betting it.
Rand says first 5 under makes sense. I can understand Joe not trust, but these aren't spectacular starts, but they are good. They're not 13 2/3. He's led 11 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 homers, 12 Ks, and 5 walks. That's just Rich Hill pitching good. So I'm going to trust it here. Okay, let's move on. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. And Joey Marinaccio saying Brewers are fade material. They absolutely are. Absolutely are. Yeah. I guess, how much did I invest in the Cardinals? I'm trying to figure out. I can't have 3 teams to win the division, even if they're all plus 450 and up. I don't think the Pirates are going to be able to get there, but do I really think the Reds are? I mean, this is wild. All right, let's move on. I don't know if I really truly believe that the Reds can do it, but if Abbott is going to be this lights out pitcher, then
I don't know if the Reds have the staff to do it.
Well, I think Abbott will be a huge piece of the puzzle. Troy Torrance says, what are your thoughts on travel situations, road to road, road to home? I think that, travel situations and the last day of a series, I expect there to be a sleepier offense than the day that you wake up in the city and just head to the ballpark, first off. And the only time I like home to road or road to home was back in the day when I really cared about what happened yesterday and streaks and all that stuff. That's something that I've let go of. So, but I do think that it is important, that travel is important. And we have cappers in the chat who always let us know when they think a team is in a bad travel situation. And it's part of what makes the show so strong is the chat. But last year was the very first year, and I didn't even start with it. I was down 20 units to start the year, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to talk about what happened yesterday. And I finished the year up just under 30 units, and it worked. Whether or not it's going to work this year, I mean, we're going to find out because I'm doing it again. But I think it creates sleepy baseball when you travel to a city and don't wake up in the city, and sleepy baseball when you're leaving a city. Okay. Let's roll on, and maybe that wasn't the best answer. YouTube says Pirates are going to rake on Teheran. Well, that's good because I've got them. Well, I will have them at plus money. We move on to the spreadsheet play of the day. The spreadsheet record right now, strong. 21 wins, 18 losses. Average line minus 102. 53.8%. He's plus 3.12 units with an ROI of 8%. Yesterday, Orioles -1 was a casher. And it's no surprise to me that he is on the Gallon horse here, who is being simply unbelievable at home. I don't know if we've ever seen, oh God, you got to go back to Pedro to see numbers like this at home. It's just unbelievable. Right now, Zach Gallen at home throwing 47 innings. He's allowed 1 home run. Opponents hitting 198 off him. 60 strikeouts and 7 walks with a 0.96 ERA. And the Diamondbacks are 6-0. With all that being said, I haven't moved on them yet. But we're going to see how many people are on them, and it's a lot. And if you are on them, you can know that LJ from H-Town and Ron Crawford are on them, and that's good company. Shout out to Ron Crawford. What is Tristan McKenzie going to do off a bad start? This is his third start of the season. He opened that first start with 10 strikeouts, looked unbelievable. Then at home, he got touched by the Astros. 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks. Here we go. LJ from H-Town says the trilogy stat of the day since 2019. Diamondbacks are 23-0 as a home favorite, less than -160 first game of the series. Wow. There you go.
There's a stat right there.
That is a stat.
Hey,
yeah.
I had one bet yesterday, Jimmy. It was the first 5 over in the Padres Guardians game. Talk about a fucking great cash, man. The Guardians got 5 runs in the first half of the first inning for me.
What a thing of beauty. It was a sweat of all sweats for me because I know Jose had the first 5 in full game over there. I had the Guardians first 3 and first 5. And it was
shit.
The biggest sweat. It was too much. I was like, literally, when they cashed the first 5, I was like, oh, I don't even know if I like this anymore. Like I was like, it was just too much. Like I was like, I started today 0-3. So I swept the table on my last 4 bets to go 4-3, but those were the first 2, and I was like, look, I was like, this is not. I'm not having fun. This is not fun. That was too much.
That, man, your heart just pounding right. I know what you're talking about here. I'm not betting against Gallen. So I'm obviously going to wish everyone luck that's on him, but betting against Gallen at home with the ERA under 1 just sounds like suicide. Obviously anything can happen, and we want to see what McKenzie does. Really what I'd probably lean towards would maybe be an under, but that's all predicated on McKenzie and if he's going to bounce back or not. I know a lot of people got really excited after McKenzie's first start. I know last year he was pretty decent. I've watched him pitch a lot, and I don't trust his off speed at all. When he can't get his slider down, it's just a scary thing. When his off speed hangs over the plate, he gets hit hard. And this is a Diamondback team that has power, riddled throughout this lineup. And this Guardians team is just 27th in runs scored per game. So I really don't see how this would be a team that's going to just break out against Gallen. I don't know. And McKenzie's not completely stretched out in his starts yet either. So I think getting through 5 runs with him is going to be tough. And Arizona's hitting 270 at home this season. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just heard you say something.
Oh, no. I love what you're doing here. I just, every single thing that you would look at would tell you to back the Arizona Diamondbacks. Every single thing. So why then are they at -134 at Pinnacle? Pinnacle giving you the best line for it. There's been a slight move towards the Guardians. That's all.
What's the money like on the total?
Let's go to it here. I also want to see what the move has been on it, but that I just can't. I'll never be able to get past that. And it's changed my capping. For instance, we saw the move back. Like I would have been on the Texas Rangers yesterday. Everything told us that the Rangers were the spot. That I know, fading Ohtani is like, who's a good example? That it's like that. It's like fading Alcantara. Fading Ohtani on the road is like fading Alcantara right now because they have bad numbers. Why do they have bad numbers? But look, we had this massive move towards the Angels. During the show, we all talked about it. It didn't make any sense. And now, where I'm at as a capper, I respected that move and stayed off. 2 years ago, I would have been right with you guys on the Rangers, and I would have lost that bet. And here, and these aren't always losses, but why on earth here with Gallen would not only that, but this total lasted at 8 at Pinnacle for 2 hours before it went to 8.5. So right now we have a 3-cent move to the under and basically no movement. It's just, I have to ask why. We know that the books are filthy rich. Why would this stuff happen? You have 73% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you have a 1 or 2 cent move in the opposite way. Ron Crawford says Blue Jays move to trust your capping. Yeah. We all have different ways to get to success. And last year, I had a 50-unit move in front of you guys when I started doing it this way. And that's why you track your action. And it's fun having cappers that cap differently than you. It's fun having cappers who are not concerned by the market moves. It's part of the fun. We watched when you have a lot of confidence, like Ron Crawford has, we saw Jose do that with the total in the Red Sox Rockies game. It moved a full run on him. Now we could pinpoint exactly what it was that had caused that, and it was the weather. And when you can pinpoint something like that, and you've already heard Joe Yurkovich talk about how that people overuse weather, it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be, then you take it to the bank here. And Ron Crawford has his numbers right in front of us here. 8% ROI. He's given us a bet on every single show we've done this baseball season. Live show, even when I'm not here, but it's a live show that, it's betting with Bouquet, or when Peter is taking over. He's giving us every single day. He's giving us a look, and he's up plus 3.12 units, and I get it. But in this situation, if I bet every single time when I was like, look, I'm not going to let that market, I would be losing those spots overall.
You talk about like how people bet. You guys have no idea how hard for me it is to break down this much baseball and have so little action. And I do it every day. Even when I'm not on the shows, I break it all down. It's that's what I'm saying when everyone's different, because I see people with, huge volume succeed. And then, I've seen people like Jimmy right now, and I don't like talking about this shit because I think it jinxes it, even though that's not real. But I'm 6-0 my last 6 bets, and it's only been one a day. So it's been 6 days where I haven't lost a bet right now. And it's just what's working for me. Like, I want so badly to get involved in some of these spots, like maybe even Arizona first 5 here. But for me, it's just what's working. And I think that's kind of what you're touching on for everyone being different on how they cap. I'm up 13.65 units right now. It's not going to jump to 20 in one day because I don't have enough action. But as long as that climb stays steady, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm just going to move on here. Zach Gallen is spectacular at home. I get it. We don't know exactly what McKenzie's going to be here, but I've got the Guardians to win that division, and I expect to cash that bet. Ricardo Morel says Diamondbacks are pass or the under. Look, if you're running with LJ and Ron Crawford, then you should be very confident in your action. I move on, and so does Daby Cab. Here we go. Philadelphia Phillies at Oakland Athletics. We're in Oakland Coliseum in Oakland, California. Taijuan Walker is a very tricky pitcher to figure out. Let's start with the weather here. Where's ballpark pal? I don't know where the hell it's. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's start with the weather here in Oakland. We have 64 Fahrenheit, 9.4 miles per hour out to right. That's a little warmer than usual in Oakland. 9.4 to the right goes down to 8.4 miles per hour. We know that this is a pitcher's ballpark. It's huge outfield and huge foul ground area. Interestingly enough, before the renovations in Toronto, we were the second biggest foul area. We've done some renovations to make it smaller, but I was surprised when I learned that. Here at Oakland, we have minus 10% home runs and minus 7% runs. So keep in mind that when it's blowing out in the Bay Area, it just doesn't really matter too much. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Walker, Sears. We're going to start with JP Sears. Big move towards them. They open up at plus 133 to now plus 118. A big move towards the Oakland A's. And Taijuan Walker can be questionable on the road. Let's pull up the total in this one here. The total in this spot, this opened up at 8.5, and it's at 8 at Pinnacle. It moved to 8 at 11:11 a.m. I'm a little surprised. I know it's a late move, but I'm a little surprised other books haven't followed suit. I'd be curious to see what Bet365 has the under 8.5 at minus 120. The Phillies are hitting lefties, 262, 779 OPS. They're hitting lefties, but clearly there's big bets coming in. And let's confirm the big bets here. We have 14% of the tickets on the Oakland A's and 38% of the cash. So sharp action is on the Oakland A's. Londo says he loves the under 8.5. He's already on it. Wine Time got in on Oakland money line at plus 120. Gerald Jones says A's are pass, and he says didn't think I'd say that this season. Taijuan Walker is a question mark, and maybe Daby Cab can help us, figure that out. 6-3, 4.67 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, 58 Ks in 69 in the third. His last start was very good. He's had back-to-back home starts that have been very, very good. It was at home versus the Dodgers. He went 5 innings, 2 hits, no one runs, 5 Ks, and 2 walks here. And on the road, he's been atrocious. 6.75 ERA, 25 Ks, 16 walks. He's allowed 7 home runs, 295 opponents batting average. Going up against JP Sears, who just shut down Milwaukee. We expect Rich Hill to do the same today. The Brewers aren't hitting lefties, so he went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks, no walks. At home, JP Sears is throwing 28 innings, 2.57 ERA, 23 Ks and 5 walks, 236 opponents batting average. The A's aren't hitting righties, and the Phillies bullpen is just the tiniest, like marginally better than the A's bullpen since May 15th. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, Philadelphia Phillies, Oakland Athletics. You're muted, my guy.
Yeah, but I was trying to unmute it.
You're good.
Okay, I like our guy Pimp Slaps Bryce Harper RBI in the chat. He said plus 185. I don't hate that whatsoever. I like that. Sears, man, and I'll touch on Walker in a second, but Sears, if you just look at his record, it can be a little deceiving. Or if you look at his ERA, because there's been some bright spots. He's 1-3. He started 13 games, and he's got 4 quality starts in there. I know that's not what you'd like to hear. You'd want more, but still, even being able to do it shows something. And the thing is 3 of those have come at home. He takes advantage of this pitcher-friendly park, I guess is what you could say at home. I think he does a good job pitching to contact and getting outs here. So yeah, anybody that's talking about being on Oakland here, I understand, but I think that win streak, that 7-game win streak, was going to be their bright spot of their season, if I'm being honest. Phillies were expected to contend this season. Obviously, what they've been doing has been, there's so many teams that have let us down with what they've been doing. But they are hitting 250 against lefties this season with the 730 OPS. And in the last 10 games, too, you look at their batting average as a team, their last 10 games, they're hitting 284. Which comes with the return of Schwarber up to the leadoff spot, even though he hasn't, done much this year. It's kind of like that Altuve in the Astros lineup. You want Schwarber at the top of that lineup. He's driven in 9 runs too since he's come back. So yeah, I would probably look Phillies here or pass. I understand why people are backing Sears, but and with Walker, what I'd look more into than his road ERA is more into the fact that his last 2 starts, he looked like he was in good form. I know he's got that 6.7 ERA on the road. His strikeout rate drops. His whip rises. Everything has fallen off. But, in his last 12 innings, he's given up just 4 hits, 1 run. He's walked 5 and struck out 13 in those 2 games. I think you go with the Phillies here if you're going to bet this game personally. I understand why people are on the A's, but I go Phillies.
Yeah, I get it. Phillies coming from 4 in Arizona, 1-3 straight. I have interest in the Phillies the A's first 3. The first 5 is the same price. We bet 365 makes a shitload of money, and we saw them have a 15-cent different price for the Reds first 5 in full game, saying that there was an enormous advantage with the pitchers on the mound. And I would like to fade, as much as I want to fade or not believe in Taijuan Walker, as much as I want to, I don't know if I can. If the books aren't saying it's a big advantage, they are saying it's a 5-cent advantage. 5-cent advantage here on the first 3, but I'm not sure. I'm very interested in the first 3, and I think that I end up pulling the trigger on the first 3. I do. I just is the question I'll have to ask myself is plus 110 enough, and I'll make that decision on my own. But yeah, and I get the breakdown. I get the breakdown. So we'll move on here. That was Phillies A's. We have 3 spots left on today's card and really exciting spots. This is the most exciting. This is the one I wanted to talk to you about the most. 9:40 p.m. Eastern, Tampa Bay Rays 50-22, 19-15 on the road at the San Diego Padres 33-35, 17-19 at home. We're at Petco Park in San Diego, California. We're also going to find out here exactly how hot the Padres are versus lefties. That's what we're going to find out. How hot are they versus lefties? And I think that they are catching fire right now. Also, I think it's time now, and I'll go over their full schedule, but it might now be time to drop a future in on them to win the division because they are not far out of it. And you're going to get 10-1 on them to win the division. They're not far out of it. And a lot of you can sit back and say, look, the Diamondbacks are a much better team and all that stuff. There's just too much talent on this Padres team to not expect them to step up here. And maybe you want to wait till after this start. But the Padres since May 15th are hitting .250 with an .828 OPS versus lefties. And McClanahan comes in here, and he's been good on the road. That's it, good. 39 strikeouts and 38 2/3 with 20 walks. Now he's 5-1 with 2.79 ERA. Maybe that's great. Maybe you can say that's great. But he's going up against a team that destroys lefties. McClanahan has 2.18 ERA, 1.11 WHIP on the year. I know so many people were saying, yesterday and even 2 days ago that it doesn't matter that they're switching Darvish to this spot. McClanahan's going to run him down. And I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. We have Darvish coming off that rough start in the thin air in Colorado, but at home, he has better numbers than McClanahan does on the road. At home, 2.68 ERA, 214 opponent's batting average, 45 strikeouts and 10 walks, 4 home runs allowed. And the Rays are hitting just 247, 21 OPS for righties since May 15th. The Rays bullpen is also 2.25 runs worse over 9 innings than the Padres bullpen since May 15th. I mean, these numbers are all shocking. So you've already heard. I've been thinking about the Padres, but I wasn't going to bet them until we talked it out. So I've been thinking about the Padres, and let's see if we can pull the trigger on them. First off, the weather, 66 Fahrenheit, 9.2 miles per hour in, dies down to 7.7 miles per hour. Petco Park is minus 2% for home runs, minus 11% for doubles and triples, minus 8% for runs. So let's go over to the line history in this one here.
Hey, Jimmy, real quick.
Yeah,
Abel A said Soto is overrated. All I remember is when the Nationals traded him, my fucking sister texted me and told me my brother-in-law, basically her husband was so upset about the trade that not to say anything to him about baseball or not to text him, blah, 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 and that he's been such a dick. So obviously, as soon as she sent me that, I was sent him a text hey, what's up with that Soto trade?
Yeah, it reminds me, son Dizzle was going out with a friend in Toronto. He was going out. His buddy was going out with Pascal, going to hang out with Pascal Siakam's brother. And the guy was like, look, he's like, look, son, you got to treat Pascal Siakam's brother like a normal guy, okay? Treat him like he's just a normal guy. So he's like, the fuck are you talking about? He's as normal as you could imagine. The guy does nothing special at all. He's the brother of a basketball player. But yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So he probably kissed him on the forehead.
As he tends to do, only with athletes he respects.
Oh, okay. Well, he didn't tell me that, so now it's okay.
There has been a 4-cent move to the San Diego Padres here. 4-cent move to the Padres, and from a total perspective, let's move over there. From a total perspective, we have this opening up at 7.5, juice to the under, and it moved to the over. That caught me by surprise. Who then is vulnerable of these two? This has gone to 8. There have been times when this jumped up to 8 and back to 7.5. Update. This is this offense is set up for. Or sorry, the stadium is set up today for a pitcher's game, and yet this is going to the over, and it's going to the Padres. I mean, I know there are people who don't care about that, but I don't know how you don't care about that. So we have 31% of the tickets and 49% of the cash on the Padres. I mean, that to me is clear, sharp money on the Padres. Then we have 36% of tickets and 60% of cash on the under. 60% of cash on the under, and the market's moving towards the over. It's just wild. Take it away here for us, Daby Cab. I can't wait to hear you talk about Darvish, because I know how much money he's made you. Take it away, Rays, Padres.
Oh, shit. Jimmy,
Let him sit there. Let him sit there and talk his shit. Let him sit there.
Jimmy probably didn't see it, Jose. No, see, he's so mad, Jimmy. He did that on his show, and since everyone always gives me so much shit, I just let him go. Man, he went on for 2.5, maybe even 3 minutes. I'm not kidding. Just doing a breakdown with his mic on mute. And I just sat there laughing my ass off with the chat, like pointing at Jose, not making a noise.
It is enjoyable. It is enjoyable. And also, Jose has a Say Hey play of the day on this very game. So let's get him up here as well. Let's get Jose here rolling with us.
Why are you so mad, Jose?
Abby, you looked like you were rolling there. Let us hear what you had to say.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I was starting. Darvish, obviously I've had success with him, 4-1 this year, but 17-9 the last 2 seasons when I've been betting Darvish in the first 5. He's struggled a little bit this year. His ERA is a little elevated, 4.3 ERA, but at home his number dips. He's only got a 2.68 ERA at home. His last 4 starts, thing is San Diego's been putting up plenty of runs for him. They put up 29 total runs in his last 4 starts. The least amount of runs they've scored for him is 6 in that time span. So obviously in those 4 starts, he's gotten 3 wins if you're going to get run support like that. And I think one thing about Darvish is he's one of those pitchers that gets up for big games. It's annoying when people do that, but he's one of those people. When it's a big game or a big spot, he elevates his game. And so that's one reason I would look at him here. It's just McClanahan, right? He's got the 85% win percentage for him when he pitches for this team in his starts. It's just outstanding. And that's probably the only thing keeping me off. And also with the money baiting the under from what you said, I thought about betting the first 5 under, but I don't like hearing the money moving up while it's coming in on the under. So this is a tough spot, man.
I don't think it is. I think the Padres are the play. You just have to have the balls to fade McClanahan, and that's hard. But I think that I move. Oh yeah, Billy, where is the Rue McClanahan pick? You're right. We got to get that up as well. We also need Jose. Just mental note to get the sound off of video 2.
I think it already is. Is it not?
It is. Okay. If it is, then I'm going to drop it here in a second. But Jose, tell me that you're with me.
Yeah, this is the easiest bet on the card. Padres first 5 full game split here. Again, weird line. I'm right there with you. They moved Darvish back for this start, et cetera, et cetera. Again, just easy bet. Padres first 5 full game.
Did you tweet it out?
Yeah, minus 107 each way. They're going to crush this lady right here.
Oh, God, she's gorgeous. And what a pitcher. She could win the Cy Young.
She could, but she's going to get touched up here today, and she'll be 10-2 after today. Rays not hitting as well last 2 weeks. I think their record is still just ridiculous in last 10 games, so that doesn't really matter. But I'm right there with you, Jim. The Padres are starting to turn it around, especially against lefties. All the Juan Soto talk in the chat is ridiculous. He's one of the best players in baseball. He won a World Series at like fucking 18 as the face of a baseball team. And it's the most important World Series in the last 5 years because of how important that is to stop the cheating Astros. So yeah, Padres win this game, and I like it a lot. So I'm right there with you.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. No, I know Juan Soto. I mean, with Juan Soto, what you see is not always what you get.
Oh, great. I'm glad we have to enjoy this on mute as well. It's just make everything so much worse. Hell yes.
What am I watching?
You're watching the good shit right now. Mhm.
Would or wouldn't? Jimmy's playing the game with us now.
Of course.
Let us know in the chat.
Yes.
All right. That was a gift. That was a gift from our DJ Big Boss. For those of you who missed the first gift from him.
Oh, God.
Here it is.
I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable.
She's about to fall down. There you go. Put it all the way down there, Granny.
God,
yeah.
That shit.
I feel dirty.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Lick your lips.
All right, let's get back to work here. I'm right there with you on the Padres' first 5 and full game, and I'm going to bet it. Daby Cab, are you going to join us? Are you going to leave your most profitable?
Oh, don't do that to me.
Off? Oh no, hey, look.
He's gonna be pussy. He's gonna be pussy, Jimmy.
God.
He's gonna be pussy. He's not gonna do it.
What the fuck is wrong? Why are you so angry today, Jose?
He's got one bet a day, Jimmy. He's too pussy. He's not gonna do it.
You know what? I don't have to bet something just because you call me a pussy. If I bet it, it's because I want to.
Sure.
That's right. That's right. And our guy Ron Walsack, back in action, just back from 7 furlong lap of the swimming pool, agrees with the Padres. With the Padres. My sister also talks in furlongs, and I respect it. Okay, let's move on here to the White Sox Seattle Mariners, a game that was very good to me yesterday. T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. We will start with the weather in Seattle, Washington. T-Mobile Park, beautiful facility. We have 60 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 6.6 miles per hour left to right, goes down to 58 Fahrenheit. Plus 4% home runs, but minus 11% runs and minus 22% doubles and triples. Here we go. T-Mobile Park, Michael Kopech against Brian Wu. Brian Wu looks like the real deal, and he's going to be a very difficult pitcher to cap here. 6th round pick out of Cal Poly in 2021. He's 23 years old, and he might be very, very good. This year, he was in AA Arkansas. He had 9 starts there. He had a 2.05 ERA, a 0.89 whip. He also struck out 59 in those 44 innings and walked 12. He allowed 2 home runs in 44 innings. He has been bad here. He got off to a rough start. In his second start, it was a 6-2 win at the Angels. We know what kind of lineup the Angels have. And he went 4 2/3 with 2 earned runs, 7 Ks and 1 walk. Now he gets his first home start. I think that Brian Wu might be bet on here, and we might be able to take advantage of that horrific first start he had in the majors. Going up against Michael Kopech, who we all know he was tipping his pitches and getting lit up in smoke. When he's not tipping his pitches, he looks very good. He just went through 5 innings, not allowing a run, 6 Ks and 1 walk. On the road, he's been decent, 4.34 ERA, 224 opponents batting average, 29 strikeouts in 29 innings. And Joe Yurkovich says, thank you. I've got it listed here. I don't know why I didn't say it. Says, don't forget TJ's gift, the White Sox to win the series at plus 147. Christian Larson says White Sox pen is spent. A lot of late inning relievers have pitched back-to-back games. That's a very important point as well. And the Mariners bullpen's been absolute trash. 5 ERA since May 15th. White Sox versus righties, 222, 665 OPS since May 15th. The Mariners are hitting, I don't know why I have Mariners hitting. I have that. No need for that stat. I'm going to pull up what the Mariners are doing against righties here in a second. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. Take a look at the line history. For the Mariners, we have them opening up at minus 120. They're now minus 127. 7 cents of movement to the Mariners. I think that's telling. I think that Wu is going to have a good start here. Let's take a look at the total in this one. We have it opening up at 8.5. Now, that 8.5, I'm not sure if Pinnacle opened that. Some offshores did. They opened it up at 8. They opened this up at 8. plus money to the under, and it immediately moved.
Man, I can't
towards the-
fucking not bet on Darvish when you guys are betting on. I'm just sitting here thinking about you just had to touch that nerve. I'm sitting here thinking about all the fucking money I've made and how much fun I've had watching all of his starts, and now I'm wanting to fucking bet it with you guys.
Now you don't have to take the -0.5 either.
I know. I can just take a money line.
I think Brian Wu is going to have a good start here. The market is telling us he's going to have a good start here. They're also telling us that Kopech is going to have a good start here. It's probably too late maybe to move on the under, but to give you an idea, 43% of the tickets and 39% cash on the under, and it's gone down to 7.5 from 8. And that's telling. Let's see what the money line is before I move on Wu. Let's see. It is 61% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Mariners, and only a 7-cent move. I guess that does give me a little bit of pause, but clearly somebody believes in Wu here in the betting market. I think that Wu is going to have a nice start here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kopech does. Then, I imagine we're going to get a 4 here. Let's see what the 4 is being offered to me at right now. Let's just see this. The 4 under 4 is juice to the over. Interesting. I'm going to take a look at line history there. Londo played the under 7.5. Take it away for us here at Daby Cab, White Sox Mariners.
This is one of those games where a lot of times you see a total this low and you think over. I still think this one probably goes under. Chicago, even though they've been winning of late, they're just 22nd in both batting average, which is at 236 as a team, and runs scored. They put up 288 this season. Their on-base percentage is terrible, 29th in the league. And their slugging percentage is just 23rd in the league. Terrible there also. This team just is not good at the plate. On the mound here, Kopech, he's been one of those guys that, I think his stuff is elite when he has it, but he just so rarely has it. And it's a matter of when I feel like I can trust him or not. But like I said, the White Sox have won 7 of their last 10 games when facing a pitcher like Wu with a whip that's higher than 1.3. So they do better against worse opponents here. But I think this is a spot for him as a young pitcher to probably get right against a struggling White Sox team. I think the under is in play here completely, both ways, full game, first half and full game.
Yeah. This opened up at 4.5. Juice to the under, like -111. Within 2 hours, there was a 12-cent move to the under, and they moved it to 4. It was at 4 for a long time. It got back up to 4.5 at 8:08 a.m. and lasted there for 14 minutes before it's back at 4. Yeah, I think this is a real sneaky one. Real sneaky under.
Yep.
Yeah, I think TJ having White Sox to win the series is very interesting. I'll be looking at that, but I think Mariners full game. Let's take it. Even though the Mariners bullpen's been bad, let's take advantage of the White Sox bullpen being taxed, as was mentioned here in the chat. That's a big deal. Who gave us that information here? My bad if I missed it, but. Danielson saying Mariners has to be the play here as well. So I'm going to take Mariners full game, and I'm going to take the first 5 under 4. And I'll look into the series bet that TJ gave us as the gift. Anything you want here? Or do we move on to the final game on the show?
We can go next. Like I said, I'm going to probably have 3 bets, and I'll make sure. I know I don't always tag you, but I'll make sure that I do today. I always tag Pub Sports Radio, but I'll tag you in it today. I just know how sometimes those notifications can get annoying when it's somebody else's.
Oh, it's all good. All good, man. All right. Wow. I'm going to have a lot of action tonight. And it looks like a lot of late action because I didn't have much on the early portion. I like this. I like I enjoy this cap we've had today. We've had a run of really strong Fridays as well. We need to keep that going. Let's talk about the final game on the board. 10 p.m. Eastern. San Francisco Giants 36-32, 18-15 on the road at the LA Dodgers 39-30, 22-11 at home at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. I have made a decision though, by the way. I am going to bet the Padres to win the division at plus 950 today. Small.
I'm going to add that, I know it's a future. It's not something right now, but I'm going to add that with you. I'm going to take that also.
It's just a phenomenal number there. They're 7.5 games out and they've been atrocious and nobody's taking the reins in this division. Okay, let's break this game down. This is a fun one. We have a bullpen day for the San Francisco Giants. We've already heard from Nutflush Allen that they took their kids to Disneyland yesterday. Emmett Sheehan is pitching for the Dodgers, and I think we all think that Grove's spot is very vulnerable, and this 6'5" flamethrower could take it out of New York City. 23 years old, 6th-round pick in the 2021 draft out of Boston College. He spent this year in Double-A Tulsa, and he was unhittable. 4-1 with a 1.86 ERA. He threw 53 in the third innings with a 0.88 whip. He had 88 strikeouts and 53 in the third with 23 walks.
Jesus.
This kid is possibly very, very strong. Danielson says Grove was yesterday. He was, and he allowed 4 solo shots. I watched it very closely. And I think that Sheehan is going to take his spot here in the rotation. But we got to see him do it. I mean, what am I saying? Let's see him do it. So here we go. We have Brebby at 2-0, 3.25 ERA, 1.08 whip, 35 Ks and 27 2/3, 9 walks, and 2 home runs. But it's a bullpen day. And this bullpen has been exceptional since May 15th. 1.46 ERA. The Giants are hitting 259, 751 OPS versus righties since May 15th. Almost exactly the same numbers as the Dodgers. And the Dodgers bullpen has been so bad. So I guess when it comes down to it, I don't. There's a reason why I haven't moved on it before the game. I needed to talk it out, and I don't really know exactly what to do. So let's see if any of this illuminates anything, and then we'll hear what Daby Cab has to say about this young fireballer and going up against a bullpen day. First off, 10.3 miles per hour out to right field, dies down to 8.1 at Chavez Ravine. We'll go to Ballpark Pal here and see what they say about this spot. They have Chavez Ravine as plus 11% for home runs and 0% for runs. Okay, let's go to the line history here for our final game on the board. First off, money line. We have, let's see here. We have the Dodgers opening up minus 145. They're now minus 137. 8-cent move towards the Giants. 8-cent move towards the Giants. Let's go here to the total. We have the first. I'm not going to be looking at the first 5. Let's just go to the full game. I can give you guys the first 5 total information, but I want to know what the full game total information and compare that to the market here. We have this opening up at 9, now at 8.5. Let's see here. Opening up at 9, now at 8.5. It moved to 8.5 not until 2 hours ago. So it just moved to 8.5. And let's go over to the cash flow here for this one. We have 55% of the tickets, 71% of the cash on the San Francisco Giants. And the market moved, 7 cents towards the Giants? Is that right? Sorry, let me just double check. So, sorry, we have a market move of 7 cents towards the Giants. So a 7-cent move towards the San Francisco Giants. And we have 55% tickets, 71% cash on those Giants. From a total scenario, we have 37% of tickets and 93% of the cash on the under. Wow. This is screaming under now. And the Giants, I'm interested in. But I like Sheehan, and I don't know what he's going to do. And I know that, star of the taint play of the day, Mr. Randall would always fade pitchers in their first start. I'm not one to do that. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab. Giants, Dodgers, last game on the board.
I'm not necessarily one to fade a pitcher in their first start, but I'm also not excited to bet on a pitcher in their first start or bet on an outcome, whether it's a total or a side. It's just, for me, it's a stay off. But I can talk a little bit about, the teams and still give information for people that are interested in it. The Dodgers here, they haven't been great in June. 370 at bats. They're only hitting 238 as a team, 16 extra base hits, 19 home runs across that span. But their bullpen has been awful this month. They're 0-5 right now with the 6.65 ERA. So that's kind of worrisome right there. And like I said, though, I don't like getting behind a pitcher that's an unknown for me. Your numbers that you gave out are electric that he had. You said in Double-A, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, those numbers are outstanding. We'll see what his mental fortitude is here as he takes the ball for the first time in the big leagues. It's always a tough thing to do.
Yeah, this is. I think I think Joe Yurkovich calling this a backwood probably makes sense. There's a lot of guessing. We're going to guess what Sheehan's going to do in his first start. So the first spot that does look appealing to me is the Dodgers team total under 4.5.
I think that's the only thing that you have enough knowledge to make a bet on if you want it in this game, in my opinion.
And that is the Giants bullpen being spectacular and now having a bullpen start.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers numbers are down right now over the 370 at bats this month, like I just touched on.
Well, they were lucky to, they hit the salami last night. They were lucky that, it just worked out that way. Taylor hit the grand slam and I wonder, okay, I'm not going to move on that until I discuss that with Nutflush, but Nutflush already said that the Giants took their kids to Disneyland yesterday, which is, I don't know if that's what you'd want your team to be doing before it clashed with the Dodgers. I will be moving on the Padres plus 950 here as soon as the show's over. All right, let's review all questions. Ask Flush. Okay, let's review all action here on the show. Thank you guys for running with us. This was a long one. We just cracked the 3-hour mark. I don't know what I'm going to do with tonight's football game, to be honest with you. The Bombers looked spectacular in that first game, but Mosaic's a tough place to play. I haven't figured that out yet. Wow, look at that. Look at the difference. So Joe Marinacci said DraftKings has Padres to win NL West plus 600. Sugar House has it plus 1,300. Bet365 is plus 950. Wow, wild, all over the map.
That's all over the place.
Yeah. I think it's a good spot to have in your pocket here. I think we'll be able to do some, I think there'll be opportunities for us here later in the year. Okay. Thank you, Curtis Barry. You were great today in the chat. Great insights. So the Lions team total under in the full game under. I'm very interested in Edmonton, BC, but I think the total is going to go up. I think it's going to go up. I'm all over the overs in Hamilton, Toronto. Team totals and full game. And TJ asked a very relevant question. He asked, why I wouldn't just triple up on the full game over. And it's because I feel like that's too risky. This isn't a spot necessarily that I want to triple up on. And here, if only one team steps up, and the game goes under and one team falls apart, I don't lose $450. So that's the reason here. It's I am tripling up, but sort of in a safer way. Okay, then we go into action here. Stacks play today. Corey Seager over 1.5 bases. Viper NB on the Red Sox first 5 -0.5. Full game -1. St. Louis first 5 -0.5 and full game -1. Seattle first 5 -0.5. Full game -1. Jose's on the under 8 here in the Cubbies game that's popping off in 6 minutes. Everybody is on the Cubbies. You got Wine Time Sports on the Cubbies. You got a BJ Best Bet 2 units on the Cubbies, and you have first half money line, full game money line from Troy Torrance. Rem Mo, Star goes under 9. It depends what you think of Chad Kelly. That's all. It depends what you think of Chad Kelly. And, he's a real wild card. But first take, Rem, I would bet the over. I think that division's trash. And, I might put a small wager on it. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. So everybody's on the Cubbies there. Then Marlins, Nats, stay off spot. Yankees, Red Sox, we stayed off. I start my card on the Cardinals first 5. Rockies, Braves, no movement. Spenny Penny Bombs has moved heavily on the Jays game. He's got Chapman RBI, Bichette over 1.5 bases, Whit Merrifield over 1.5 bases and RBI, Corey Seager over 1.5 bases and RBI. So there's another Corey Seager look right there. And I'm on the first 5 under 4.5 in Toronto, Texas. And I'm very worried about that bet. Then Gerald Jones is on the over 9.5 in LA Royals. I'm on the first 5 under and the Royals first 3 and first 5. It's a huge game for me. It sets everything up. Sets my whole night up. Reds first 3 and first 5. I'll be betting here shortly. Cabs on the team total over 3.5. Then first 5 under, full game under. But I want to see the marketplace for Detroit, Minnesota. First 5 under and Pittsburgh first 5 for me. And I got to question whether I make a small bet on the Reds to win the division. Then LJ from H-Town and the spreadsheet play today are both on Arizona. Spreadsheet on the Arizona -1, LJ on the money line. Then the A's first 3 at plus 110. I have to decide whether that's enough a risk reward to back a team like the Oakland A's, but I'm certainly leaning toward it being the case. Then Padres first 5 in full game for me. Jose's on the same thing. We'll see if Daby Cab joins on. He'll tweet it out if he does. Then I am on the Mariners full game and the first 5 under 4 in Chicago, St. Louis. The gift is from TJ, White Sox to win the series at plus 147. I'm going to move on the Padres to win the division here. The Giants team total under is the Dodgers team total under is a possible bet for me, but I want to touch base with our guy Nut Flush before I move on it. And then don't forget, Wine Time Sports he has 2 units on the over 163 in the Sparks game. Big system indicator on it, and the line's more than 5 points off. The over 163 in the LA Sparks basketball game. Daby Cab, my friend, a treat to hang with you. Great work. We finish up the week here. We'll be back on Monday night for Monday Night Live. Thank you, Jose, for all the hard work that you do, my friend. But yeah, Joey Marinaccio, there's that WNBA look from Wine Time Sports. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Top Crocodile, Christopher Commentini, Saturated, Joey Marinaccio. YouTube, I know you got under a lot of people's skin here with the nonstop stuff, but you're welcome here anytime. And maybe you'll pick your spots a little better in the future. Mike M. Ribeye play today is on Harper at plus 185. Rem Most, Christopher Commentini, DC Capper, Curtis Berry, Billy Friedrich. What a great group. Joey Marinaccio, Abel A. Thank you guys. Londo, get that cash, Londo. And I see Danielson, Akbar, Saloev. Thank you guys. Thank you for your support. We have nothing without you guys. And it's the chat that makes this show special. Jay Peasy, thank you all. Thank you all. And now let's go out there and get that cash. Alfred 44, Danielson, Robert Franklin. Let's go. Mickey Cohen, Piker, Ron Walsek, Drip Skylark, Steve G. Thank you guys. All right. Leroy Flood, thank you. Danny Lopez, I love it. Jack Rosenblatt, thank you. Daby Cab, thank you, my friend. Please follow Daby Cab on Twitter. Daby Cab, can you talk about your new show one more time for us? And then can you please leche us into the future?
Oh, man, of course. I got you. And real quick, before we get in there, Jimmy touched on it. We don't have anything without you guys. So I appreciate the hell out of you guys. I learned from every one of you motherfuckers in the chat. I love learning, to perfect our craft, because that's what we're here to do. And I might not have a lot of action today, but I have one bet that makes my balls tingle. And that's all I need. I need one bet that gives me that little tingle in my balls. So I feel good about it. And I'm also going to join you on that Padres to win the division, Jimmy. And I might join Mr. Pimp Slap on the Harper RBI, because I do like that. But real quick, on the show with Dave and I, it's going to be the unmuted mic. It's going to be a different vibe. It's going to be more of like a show vibe. And we're going to interview, like I said, some people that are, on the fringes of society, whether it be sex workers or maybe somebody who was involved in a little organized criminal activity, so to speak, things of the such. We have some really interesting interviews coming up. I saw somebody ask if the girls that we were interviewing are going to be attractive. No shit. We're not trying to bring you a bad product. Of course they're going to be attractive. It's going to be a lot of fun, Jimmy. And I can't wait to do it. So that's the unmuted mic. We don't have a date set yet. We don't, none of that's set, but it'll be set soon, and I'll tweet it out as soon as it is.
I love it. And we'll all help promote that show. We're excited about it. Unmuted Dave Rogers and Dabra Cadabra. Daby, can you please bless our action and take us into the future, my friend?
I got you, man. To everybody in the chat, Jimmy, Jose, even backstage, let's all cash today and leche los motherfucking bookmakers.